The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. In the musical version of J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan, Captain Hook sings of himself, among other things, as the slimiest slime in the world. In my gallery of vampires, werewolves, murderers, ghosts, and witches, to me, the one who tops the captain's estimate is the confidence man who plays on the agony and confusion of people who have just undergone a shattering personal tragedy. This is a story, to quote Captain Hook again, of one of the crookiest crooks in the world. Our mystery drama, The Dead Deserve to Rest, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Jennifer Harmon. It was Robert Burns who said, "Man's inhumanity to man makes countless thousands mourn." Some people, all unaware, seem marked for tragedy, like Letitia Meredith, née Henderson, a bride who never had a chance to be a wife, and who was marked for such tragedy and such haunting interference in her attempt to bind up her wounds and forget that she might have been Electra, or any other of those doomed women in a Greek tragedy. The first interference in her life was fate, not man, except accidentally.
Lord knows what's tied onto the car, or what crazy things my friends may have set up, Tish.
I couldn't care less. There's nothing anyone can do to touch us now, Tom.
We're married. We've got it made, honey, all the way. Come on, climb in.
No, you go first and slide over to the wheel.
Oh, no, ma'am. I helped my bride over the first threshold. There. Now I run around and climb in to take over.
And live 100 years together.
Right.
Like me and your mother.
Oh, don't worry. This is only the beginning. Tom! Tom, look out for that bad man!
How is she today, Belle?
I don't really know, Jim. They still have her under sedation, and I suppose she's half in shock.
At least, thank the Lord, she had no physical injuries.
I don't know how much that'll help when she finally comes to. I'm terrified she'll lose her mind.
Oh, honey, our Tish has more backbone than that.
But when the full realization that Tom is dead hits her...
We'll just have to see her through somehow.
Not quite the same as the husband she planned to spend her whole life with.
We are her mother and father.
And we love her. But in this awful thing... Oh, Jim, how could we help her?
I know one way I can. I started suit against the driver of that car that killed Tom.
What good can being vindictive do? The boy didn't mean it.
The boy was 32 years old. He's been drinking, and with all that ice on the road, he was still driving like a maniac. That boy killed my daughter's husband.
Well, isn't it enough for him to have that on his conscience? He's never had trouble before, and clapping him in jail.
No, I'm not talking about a criminal suit. That's up to the police. I'm talking about a civil suit.
What's the difference?
Damages, money.
Oh, Tish doesn't need money. You said Tom had insurance, and anyway, she has us.
She's 22, Belle. She had a probable 50 years of support to be expected from her husband. Even $50,000 worth of insurance wouldn't begin to cover that.
Well, how much will you sue for?
$3 million.
What?
They'll settle for $1 million.
$1 million? But I don't think Tish
won't help her now, Belle, but someday, maybe, she'll thank me for that.
Dad'll bring the bags in, Tish. Want to go right upstairs or sit down for a moment?
I don't care. Downstairs, maybe.
Tired, dear?
No, it's just... Right now I only have one wish in the world. Why didn't I die with him? Why didn't he kill us both?
That you, Jim?
Yes, Belle.
It stopped snowing, hasn't it?
I just started in again. Looks like we're due for a real Wisconsin blizzard. How are you, dear?
A hothouse plant. I stayed indoors all day. You'd better mix yourself a drink.
Don't worry. I'm glad the suggestion came from you. How's Tish?
I don't know, Jim. 3 whole months. She just can't seem to shake it.
I gotta give it time, Belle.
I know, but I don't think it's going to be here, darling. I think she's got to get away. Away from Milwaukee and all her old associations. And away from herself.
After today, she's gonna be able to go pretty much wherever she wants. She is a very rich young lady.
They settled the suit.
Mm-hmm. For $1 million.
Oh.
To a new beginning, maybe. Hmm?
What's a new beginning?
Oh, Tish. Oh, I didn't hear you come down.
Not deliberate. I guess in a way I'm a sort of a ghost.
Oh, Tish.
I might as well tell you I'm thinking of cutting and running.
Where would you go? What would you do?
I was a working girl before Tom and I met each other. But it was here we did meet. I've been thinking if I got away, far away. I mean, with my own savings and Tom's insurance,
Honey, let me tell you something. Money's no problem. I have just made a settlement which gives you quite an enormous amount of money.
How much?
For Tom's death, $1 million.
As recompense?
For gross carelessness.
Would you consider that a fair exchange?
Tish, honey, that's a hell of a thing to say to me.
I'm sorry, Daddy. Of course it was unfair. That's me these days. I should be grateful. So, suddenly I'm a millionaire. What'll I do with it?
It was the only, the best way I knew to help.
I know. But getting born all over again depends most on self-help. So, here I go.
Where, Tish?
Oh, the biggest, noisiest, coldest. Oh, not cold like poor old Milwaukee, but cold-shouldery. The best place I can think of to be really alone because it's so packed with people too busy with their own affairs. The best place to learn to really tough it out. And a town I can really have something in common with. New York. Hello.
Hi, kid. I'm your bunkie down the hall. Could I borrow a cup of sugar?
I'm terribly sorry, but I just moved in and I don't even have staples yet.
Oh, who needs them? You could always send out.
Send out?
Baby, this is the village. Anything you want. Pizza, hero sandwich, Chinese, enchiladas, rum cake, you name it. Forget the cup of sugar. Just a ploy, honey.
What?
A ploy. Gimmick. Like in chess. A gambit. You dig?
It's an opening move, sort of.
Well, I know you just moved in a couple of days ago and you look kind of down in the dumps and lonely, so I figured I'd amble over and get us acquainted. I'm Hank Plank. How does that grab you for a name? What's your handle?
I'm Letitia Meredith.
Oh, it ain't the second name that needs changing, it's the first. Like my straight name is Henrietta, but I didn't go for dragging that around all my life, so I got it to be Hank.
Well, as a matter of fact, everyone calls me Tish.
Gesundheit.
Oh, it's not that bad.
I'm only putting you on. I like it.
Would you like to come in, Hank?
I tell you what, kid, let's put it this way. Would you like me to come in?
Yes, I think maybe you're just what I need. You're funny, and I could use a laugh or two.
So I'll come in. Listen, when you're 5'2" and 160 pounds like me, you're a barrel of laugh. And that's before I open my mouth even, which, like you see, is as big as my waist.
And I'll bet your heart.
Well, I dig people is all. All kinds. Hey, that's a nice place you got. So what's the trouble, baby? Money?
That's the least of my worries.
Well, that's nice. It's the only real one I got. It's a man. That's the reason for the mix-up in the last names, right? He walk out on you, the bum?
Oh, no. He he was killed. A car hit him right after we were married, and as he was getting into our car in front of the church.
Oh, holy cow. Well, you want me to leave by the window head first?
Oh, no, please don't go. Oh, Hank, I just want somebody to talk to about him.
Come on, sit on the couch, Tish. You'd never believe it, but I got big ears, too. All the better to listen with. Go ahead, honey. Spill. Tish? You with it?
Oh, I've been waiting for you, Hank.
Well, listen, let's get this show on the road. I've got a hunch today's going to be a big one.
Oh, you think we'll get a job?
I don't know. I just got vibes. Something big is going to happen.
Well, I hope it's for you.
And I better land something pretty soon or I'll end up on relief.
Now, don't be silly. You know I've plenty of money.
Kid, you're the first solid gold millionairess I ever knew, but don't get me wrong. I'd never borrow a cent. I'd go on a diet first. Hank here owes nobody nothing.
But after all you've done for me these last few days, listening to me moping and weeping and carrying on, feeding and looking after me like a mother hen.
You had to clean out the old system. I just happened to be around. But hear this.
What?
You are too trusting, little Nell. Don't you go around shooting off your mouth to just anybody. This is a big, bad city with more con men, deadbeats, and just plain thieves licking their lips waiting for a pigeon to come along.
I've never spilled my heart out to anyone like that, Hank. Anyone but Tom.
Okay. Close book. Hey, listen, now, make sure that front door closes tight, huh?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, let's see if I got a letter telling me I won the lottery. Cupboard is bare. Aren't you going to open your box?
What for? Nobody to write to me. Even Mom and Dad don't know my address yet.
You better open it. Looks like there's something there.
Oh, all right. Hey, there is something here. A letter.
Probably from some local store marked resident.
No, it's addressed to me. My married name. Who on earth could...
Well, what is it, honey?
I can't. Listen, Hank, listen to this. My poor bereaved Mrs. Meredith. No words of mine can adequately express my grief at your deep sorrow. I would hesitate to intrude, except that it is at the request of your own dear husband. He spoke to me last night from beyond the veil and begged me to reach you immediately and tell you that he is calling for you.
Here's a startling twist, which is only the beginning of a long, twisted chain of events. Who is the writer of this mysterious letter, who apparently possesses supernatural powers? How else, in a city of 8 million, could he have reached unerringly to find one girl, alone, away from friends or family, none of whom know where to reach her? Unless, could Hank have been the one to let him know? I'll return shortly with some of the answers and Act 2. Shocked and startled almost out of her wits by the incredible content of this strange letter, Tish hands it to Hank to read to her.
He spoke to me last night from beyond the veil and begged me to reach you immediately and tell you he is calling for you. Since I realize my words may be confusing and even shocking to you, I would like to explain. I couldn't reach you by phone, so I decided I was bound in all conscience to write and inform you of your husband's urgent request. I am only the medium in this, but I do suggest you contact me either by phone or at the above address. I will be at your service at any time. My work, my duty, and my joy is the service of all mankind. Yours in the service of the eternal spirit, which makes us one. Dr. Pavat Krishna. Wow.
Who is this man, Hank?
I don't know. Search me. 91601 Park Avenue, fancy neighborhood. The Temple of Transcendent Truth.
What does this mean?
I don't know. I guess he's like not a doctor, but more like a guru or a swami, you know?
But it's impossible. The whole thing's impossible.
What do you mean?
Well, how could he know how to find me? I spent 3 months like a zombie after Tom was killed. Then I made up my mind I couldn't go on like that, so I picked up my skirts and ran, hid out. I didn't want anyone, least of all Dad and Mom, whom I loved, to know where I was.
How come?
Because they don't realize it, but they've always protected me. Wrapped me in cotton, given me too much love and not enough self-reliance. That's what I've realized I have to build for myself if I have to have my life. So I came to New York, and God was sure smiling on me to let me find you.
Oh, yes, some big treasure.
You don't realize. I mean, after I blew off steam and you rode out the storm with me, I, honest to Pete, thought I had a chance.
A chance at what?
Oh, I don't know. Coming to grips with myself, making myself a person, building some real backbone. But this has just turned me all to jelly.
I don't get that quite.
Don't you see? I was brought up to believe in a world after death, but I never thought... I mean, I don't think I could believe in communicating between somebody alive and somebody who's...
Dead, huh? You mean you think the doctor here is a phony?
I don't know what to think. How could he be since he found me? What do you think?
Well, I don't see how this guy could be a phony. What could it hurt to at least give him a phone call?
I think maybe I just ought to go there.
Well, you couldn't go wrong at that address. Want to use my phone to make an appointment?
Yes. What have I got to lose?
Sure. What do you got to lose?
Yes, Madame Meredith. I know the doctor was in great hope that you would answer his letter. He is most anxious to see you.
Well, I still don't understand how he managed to locate me.
I would not know. I am just his receptionist.
You're French?
I am from Algiers. My ancestry is mixed. If you will have a seat, please. A gentleman is with the master.
I'm a little confused. This is not a medical office?
Oh, yes. In part.
You wear a nurse's uniform.
I am a nurse. And the doctor, as you can see from the evidence on the wall, is a licensed physician.
But the Temple of Transcendent Truth...
that has become his full life work. There are many steps to the truth.
But
Oh, he is here himself now. He will explain.
But you're sure you can't help me somehow? Everyone says you can work miracles, Dr. Bhavat Krishna.
I work no miracles, Mr. Young. For some people, I can show the way. Not for all.
Why not for me?
Because your heart is not truly open. Because you come in doubt. There is no truth without faith. No bridge that can be built without belief.
But
If you will excuse me, Mr. Young, the doctor has someone waiting. An emergency case. It's Madame Meredith, Master.
I am so relieved. You will please come with me, Mrs. Meredith. We have much to talk about.
I don't understand why when we don't even know each other.
All will be revealed in time. Please to follow me. Show Mr. Young out, Sister Mary's.
But how did you find me? Or know where to find me?
Your husband told me when he broke through to me.
Tom is dead.
Death is only another state of the spirit. And the spirit is endless and infinite.
But when he died, even Tom couldn't have known I would come to New York.
From Milwaukee, away from the house of your father and mother, Mr. and Mrs. James Henderson, who live on Summer Street at 125.
How could you know about them?
Because your husband told me. He is worried about you. There is an evil force gathering about you. He is concerned about the money.
I don't care about the money. But what was it Tom wanted to tell me?
I think you should let him tell you himself.
Tom? But how can he? Don't you understand? He's dead. He isn't anymore.
Hush, my child. No one is never anymore.
I'm just so confused.
There is confusion because you do not yet know the light. Listen to my words. Don't fight me. Try to think. Just make your mind a blank. Leave it an open slate to be written upon, and all will be clear. Your eyes are heavy. Heavy. Heavier now. The eyelids will not stay open. They close. There is no light behind them. Only the soothing dark. And peace, peace. Rest and peace. And you are asleep. 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 So, no reaction?
Is she under?
Yes, completely. Prepare the syringe and bring it back. She must feel well and joyous when she wakes.
Yours to command, mine to obey.
I wonder. I may rule the others, but you know that I am your slave. You are still in a trance, Mrs. Meredith, but you may open your eyes. There. How do you feel?
At rest.
Splendid. Now you are going to answer me some very intimate questions about your relationship with the man you loved and married. And he called you Tish?
No. Everyone else did. Tom wanted his own name.
What did he call you?
Anne. My full name is Letitia Ann.
Did he have a high voice?
No.
Low?
Not growly. Like yours a little, but younger.
More like this?
Yes. Well, not quite.
Did he say, Anne, I love you more than anyone else in the world?
Yes. Yes, that's Tom. Only he'd say, Anne, I love you a million.
When you hear this voice you are hearing now, you will know it as Tom's. You will know it as certainly as the sun rises.
I will know it as Tom's.
Tom left you a very rich woman. $1 million.
It was like blood money. I will never use it, only for some worthwhile charity.
Would you sign it over to the Temple of Transcendent Truth?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
It is a church and a refuge. You could live here in the retreat with all of us who have given our lives to the pursuit of oneness.
I don't know.
Would you, if Tom told you to?
I don't know. I'd have to ask him.
Then you shall ask Tom.
Yamin.
Shh, Maris. Listen to me, Mrs. Meredith. What I am going to tell you, you will remember when you wake. Everything else you will forget. Remember only one thing. Ask Tom what to do with the money, and obey him as your husband. You understand?
Yes, I will ask him and do as he tells me.
She is being difficult.
You know that even under hypnotism, I cannot force anyone against his will. You have the hypo.
Yes.
Good. Give it to her now, so she will feel the joy and release when she leaves. Then I will wake her, and we will bring her to the sanctuary.
Oh, where are we? I feel as if I'd fallen asleep or something.
This is what we call the sanctuary.
Oh.
Here the outside world disappears like the illusion it is, and the truth is all. The oneness of the spirit, the bridge from life to life.
Why did you bring me here, to this dark place?
To talk with your husband, as I did.
Call your husband. Tom? Tom?
Anne, darling.
It's you. Your voice.
Listen to me, Anne, my darling. You mustn't worry about me. Only about all those around you in your physical life. I am here to talk to you from the beyond, whenever you want, whenever the good doctor builds the bridge. But it would be easier if you stayed here, in the retreat.
Is that what you want me to do?
That is up to Dr. Pavat Krishna. Mrs. Meredith, that is enough for one day. Maris, please, open the door. You will rest a minute now, before you go home.
Excuse me, miss.
Please, I'm sorry. I'm not feeling very well.
I wouldn't bother you, except that we have seen each other before.
We have?
Yeah, in Dr. Pavat Krishna's office. I came out while you were waiting to go in.
Oh, yes. But I'm sorry, whoever you are.
Gary Young.
I just can't talk at the moment. I'm too... Oh, please let me go.
I only wanted to ask you, did he bring you any relief at all?
Oh, could you get me a cab, please? I think I'm going to pass out.
Oh, yeah, sure. Just give me your address. I'll see you home. There you are. You want me to open your door for you?
Oh, if I could just find my keys.
Hey, Tish? Hey, what gives here?
I went to see, this gentleman was nice enough to see me home.
You know her?
No.
Okay, chum, then thanks. And blow, okay? I'll take over. Hey, you still here?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know who you are, mister, but
Who?
you're looking for patsies. Don't take me on. You make one wrong move, I'd just as soon cut your throat.
Hey, Tiger, down. No sweat, no problems, and a little advice for you later. But first, the credentials. You get the message?
Police?
Shh. Detective Young, first homicide. Now, you want to put that carving knife away and let's you and me talk turkey.
Now that the twisted, complicated chain I talked about is forged, remember the slimiest slime in the world? The crook who feeds on human grief and loss and far too often gets away with it. Usually this greedy grub stays just inside the law and never steps over the line. If you want to know if he manages to get away with it this time again, why don't you join me after these short messages for Act 3? The mystery at the core of this story is still how Dr. Pavat Krishna could have divined the information he had to begin with, unless he is a true psychic. Any suspicion of Henrietta as an informant is long since laid to rest. And even doubting the authenticity of Detective Gary Young's badge and credentials, there is no way he could have known who Henrietta is or what connection she has with Tish. So, let us proceed to the proof of the pudding.
What you're telling me is that this crook preys off old women and widows and ladles off the dough. He's a big #1 phony, right?
In my book.
So why haven't you nailed him sooner?
Because we can't get anyone to testify against him. Now, I can't prove it, but at least 2 older women who've left money in their wills to his temple, died. Kind of very convenient.
You mean he's a murderer?
The whole setup smells. Now, I tried to con my way in as a broken-hearted son looking to reach his mother, but somehow that spider smelled me out. What I'm trying to say is your little Mrs. Meredith After the sad story you've told me, and if she is worth all that money, is just the kind of pigeon that's made for his racket.
Well, what do you want me to do about it?
Hang on to her. Hold her back till I get a chance to do a little research on all you've told me. With a little luck, we can set a trap to pin that bald-headed eagle to the wall.
Hello?
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes?
This is Detective Gary Young, New York Police calling.
Oh, no. Has something happened to
Oh, no. There's nothing wrong with your daughter, Mrs. Henderson. I just talked to her within the last hour or so. She's fine. But, well, there are a couple of questions I wanted to ask you.
Of course, as long as Tish is okay, ask anything you want.
Yeah, have you received any calls about her during the last week?
Why, yes. There was a call from a man. I never did get his name quite straight, but he said that he had a job for my daughter, but didn't have her New York address. I was quite upset because I didn't have it either. The best I could do was suggest she might have located my old neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. And where would that be, ma'am?
Oh, years ago, before I was married and settled down, I had an apartment in Greenwich Village. Silly romanticism, maybe, but when Tish took off for New York, I thought she'd be safer and happier there than anywhere. But how would you know she had gone to New York or to call me?
Well, Mrs. Henderson, the tragic circumstances of her husband's death made all the wire services. I've dug that out of back newspaper files. And the big settlement for damages was another big story.
Detective Young, is Tish in trouble?
No, nothing I can't handle. Now, you leave it up to me, and don't worry. I'll call on you if I need help.
I think you're kind of trapped in a big-time con game.
How?
I told you, Tish, there was nothing supernatural. This guru schmuru picked up your story in a countrywide press release.
All right, perhaps he could have. But how could he know my address? Personal things like what my husband called me? All that?
Look, don't ask me, but why don't you give Gary Young a chance to explain?
Oh, you. You just went hook, line, and sinker for a good-looking cop, and he can make you believe anything he wants.
Yeah, I wish that was the truth. I wouldn't have to be asked to give in.
You can wake up now, Tish. Are you awake?
Yes.
Would you like to talk about the money?
No.
But you do want to talk to Tom.
Oh, yes.
That money preys upon your mind, does it not?
Yes.
Then why not let Tom suggest what to do with it?
Yes. I would do what Tom asked. That would be right.
Very well, then. That is arranged. We shall go to the sanctuary to meet Tom. Maurice, give her the injection before I bring her out of the hypnosis.
I can't get anywhere with her, Mr. Young. I mean, when she comes back from that temple, like she calls it, it's like she was hypnotized.
She probably is. And I wouldn't put it past him to use drugs.
The worst part of it all is she's talking about moving into the house with all the other creeps because then she can talk to Tom whenever she wants. How can he fool her like that? She's not dumb.
Post-hypnotic suggestion, stimulants to make her feel on a high after her supposed talks, the letdown when they wear off that drags her back.
You mean he has her hooked?
He knows he's being watched. That guy has the intuition of a cat. Maybe he does have some real ESP. I figure he's after one big score and then blow. And your friend Tish has just the kind of stake he and his girlfriend need. We've got to figure something desperate.
Yeah, I mean, time is running out for us. I feel it. We must figure something out.
I know, but for some reason I cannot break her down. How do I get that $1 million from her?
Where is it?
In Milwaukee, in a safe deposit box.
In real money?
Better than that.
What is better than money?
Diamonds.
Diamonds?
Her father is in the business. When she did not want the money for herself, he persuaded her to invest. And he bought for her diamonds.
Oh.
Perfect for us. Untraceable. Good as or better than gold. In South America, we could live like kings.
If we had them.
We are going to get them. And we are not going to wait. Get everything packed and ready for us to leave.
But how are we going to get into the safe deposit box?
She is going to do that for us, under hypnosis, at her ghostly husband's suggestion.
And then?
I cannot keep her hypnotized forever. It will be like the other two. She will have to die.
You can't be serious.
Tish, baby, give Detective Young a break. Listen to him.
You've got to listen. It's all a big con game.
But how could the doctor have gotten my address without Tom?
Well, the same way I did. I called your mother in Milwaukee.
But Mother doesn't know my address here.
She gave me enough of a lead. She said Greenwich Village. So I called your real estate agent. She confirmed what I suspected. Someone called her 10 days ago saying he had a job for a Mrs. Meredith but couldn't locate her.
See, honey, it's like Gary says. Once the doctor knew the village, he just kept calling agents until he found the right one.
No, I can't. I won't.
Now, listen, I'm going to tell you something else. Has he been giving you any injections, as a medical man?
No.
You mean you don't know? Here, come over to the mirror. Roll up her sleeve.
What are you doing to me?
Just want to show you something. You see those puncture marks on the back of your arm?
I never, but what?
Speed, probably. Some kind of amphetamine to make you feel good.
No, I don't believe it. I can't. Let go of me. I want to talk to Tom. Oh, I feel awful.
That's the bait to keep dragging you back. Okay, Tish. And I'm going to call you that because we're all in this, sink or swim. You'll go back, but not until you sweat a lot of things out of your system.
Where in the devil is she? This is the second appointment she has missed.
Well, we can't call her. She doesn't have a phone yet. Shall I go to the apartment and...
No. We'll give her one more day. Then we will have to make a move.
Okay, Gary. I've been a stupid, romantic, gullible little fool. I should have realized, remembering Tom, that he'd never have gone with this, no matter where he is. I think I owe him something for making him out as foolish as me. Okay, let's get busy setting houses in order. What do I do?
Well, it's simple. And I hope not too dangerous. Now, they're hungry for money. I think we can catch them off guard. The first thing is this. Nobody can be hypnotized if they don't want to. I'll show you a trick which is guaranteed that it won't work. Then, after that, do everything he wants to. Pretend to agree. Try to get him to lay out everything he has in mind. Now, you'll have the radio transmitter in your pocket, no bigger than a pack of cigarettes, and the mic is here. You see, in this brooch? We'll have the house covered. If you get in any real trouble, press here against the pack. That's an alarm. Now, if not, go with it. And trust me.
Mrs. Meredith, I have missed you the last 2 days.
I'm sorry. I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
About the money you asked for the temple. You may have it, if that is what Tom wants.
Did you bring the safe deposit key as Tom asked you to?
Yes.
Does anyone know where you are today?
No.
Splendid. And you are ready to do exactly what I say, as your dear husband asked you to?
Yes.
Then sleep for a moment. Rest. Rest, my dear.
I heard it all. Now?
Now, we're packed. The car's in front. You have the plane tickets. We take her to Milwaukee. Once she has opened the box, she has to die. It is almost dark. Come. There is much to do. I am quite sure I have her under. But hold her tight, Maurice. We take no chances. Put her in the middle, between us. Mrs. Meredith?
Yes?
Climb into the car, my dear. That's right. Now you, Maurice, and I will go around to the driver's side.
All right, Doctor. Hold it right there.
What? Who? What is this?
Police, don't move. You're covered. Look out, you crazy... Doctor, watch it! right, Tish?
Yes, I think I fainted. What happened to the doctor?
He was killed. Crazy madman who came in that car from nowhere.
Did you find him?
No, I don't know. He turned the corner, disappeared into thin air.
Just like the man who killed my Tom.
No comparison. This wasn't much loss. But we'll find the car just like the Milwaukee police found the man who...
Don't. The past is really dead now. And somehow, Gary, I don't think you ever will find this driver. Because I saw him just before the car hit.
Oh? Well, could you recognize him if you saw him again?
Yes, only I never will. I told you the past is dead. The man behind the wheel was Tom.
Well, there's poetic irony for you. Or is it? Was it only an illusion in the brain of a tired and tortured girl? Or could Dr. Pavit Krishna, meddling in powers beyond him, the powers of darkness and evil, have raised up from the supernatural the instrument of his own death? We'll never know, because Tish was right. The driver of the mystery car was never found. I'll be back shortly. There's a little more to add. Maurice is no longer in the country, shipped out as an undesirable alien. Tish, being young, and time being the best of healers, found the best of use for those diamonds. They equipped and staffed a halfway house for young people to escape and shake their individual drug habits. She has found another doctor, the head one at the clinic, and this one she will marry soon. She doesn't go often to New York, but when she does, it's to visit her best friends, Mr. and Mrs. Gary Young. That's the ex-Hank Plank, who has shed an uncomfortable name and 35 pounds along with it. Our cast included Jennifer Harmon, Russell Horton, Martha Greenhouse, William Redfield, and Terry Keane. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Bright and beautiful music. This is KIXI, Seattle.
CBS News next. It's 11 o'clock.
CBS News. A big decision is coming from Washington on Wednesday, whether to allow the Concorde supersonic airliner to land in the United States. This is Doug Poling reporting on the CBS radio network. It's a very important decision for Britain and France and possibly for America's relations with those two staunch allies. Those countries built the Concorde, and it probably won't be a profitable venture unless it can fly to and from the United States. British and French officials have hinted that relations with the U.S. could deteriorate if the American government says no to the Concorde. It's a dilemma for Transportation Secretary William Coleman, who makes his decision public on Wednesday. Coleman must take into account objections from environmentalists who say the Concorde is too noisy and causes damage to the vital ozone layer above the Earth. The House on Wednesday may vote on a controversial bill to decontrol the price of natural gas. The Senate has already approved such a measure, and President Ford has indicated he wants the action taken. On Tuesday, the House cleared the bill for action. Proponents say it is needed to stimulate production. Opponents say it could mean sharply higher heating bills for consumers. There are reports that 2 Indians have been shot and killed in Neopet, Wisconsin, in the Menominee area where Indians last year seized the Alexian Brothers Monastery. One of the Indians allegedly killed was a defendant in the trial resulting from that seizure. One report says the shooting took place as a result of a domestic quarrel and that a sheriff's deputy was wounded. Secretary of State Kissinger says Angola represents the first time the Soviet Union has moved militarily at long distances to impose a regime of its own. Kissinger said massive interference in the African nation by Russia and Cuba is of urgent concern and will be met by active diplomatic maneuvers. In Cincinnati Tuesday, a federal appeals court listened to arguments by attorneys for James Earl Ray, who is serving 99 years after pleading guilty to the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King. Ray wants a new trial. A top Pentagon official says the Soviet Union is striving hard to gain a nuclear weapon superiority that could significantly change the strategic balance with the United States. Dr. Malcolm Currier, research director for the Defense Department, says Soviet missile development has doubled in the last 5 years. This is Doug Poling, CBS News.
CBS News. Only the final jury selection process remains to be completed before testimony can open in the Patricia Hearst bank robbery trial. I'm Eric Engberg reporting on the CBS radio network. A 36-member jury panel has been chosen and will be narrowed to 12 primary jurors and 4 alternates during Wednesday's court proceedings. And it's anticipated that testimony in the case will begin soon thereafter. F. Lee Bailey, Miss Hearst's lawyer, has obtained court permission for an X-ray of his client. He says he wants the X-ray to see if Miss Hearst suffered a fracture when she was struck with a rifle butt by her Symbionese Liberation Army captors 2 years ago. Bailey has said that one of his most important tasks in the trial will be to convince the jury that Miss Hearst was, in fact, kidnapped without her consent or advance knowledge. Secretary of State Kissinger says he is worried that the Russians will interpret America's decision to stay out of Angola as an invitation to meddle in other countries. In a San Francisco speech, Kissinger criticized the Congress for creating what he called a dangerous precedent by cutting off aid to pro-Western forces in Angola. A congressional committee looking into airline safety has turned its attention to the safety of flight crews, considered a critical factor in crash situations because the crews are expected to help passengers to safety in an emergency. Hal Walker has the story in Washington.
Flight attendants told the committee that airlines pay more attention to food and beverage service than they do to safety precautions for the cabin crew. Consequently, they say, cabin attendants, formerly called stewardesses, are often themselves rendered incapable of helping passengers. Del Mott is safety director for the Association of Flight Attendants.
If we do survive, we're still faced with the unusable exit because the galley components and debris block these exits. Additionally, the emergency lighting fails, our seats fold up and pin us in, compartments fall on us, and the cargo comes loose. We have been emphatic and insistent that our seats and surrounding environment be re-evaluated to provide better protection to us so that we may provide better protection to you, the passenger.
Later, airline industry spokesmen will be summoned to answer the flight attendants' charges. Hal Walker, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
2 women who had been held hostage by an inmate inside a Canadian prison for 2 days have been released unharmed, and the inmate is back in custody. Tax officials in several eastern states say cigarette bootlegging is costing the states millions of dollars every year, and they say organized crime is behind it. The cigarettes are being smuggled into the east, where cigarette taxes are relatively high, from the south, where they are relatively low. The smugglers are well organized, the taxmen say, and use two-way radio equipment to guide their trucks around police patrols. Government experts have just completed a comprehensive study of the things which killed Americans in 1974. The study shows that heart disease and accidents declined as causes of death, cancer, suicide, and homicide increased. The government health analysts say that an American child born in 1974 will live to an average age of 68 if he is a boy, 76 if she is a girl. Another health note, the people who run Mexico City's zoo have decided to give the animals Mondays off. People will not be allowed in to stare at the 315 different kinds of animals in the zoo on Mondays. Zoo officials call it a health measure. Many animals, they say, get nervous, sick, and sometimes die from the pressures of being on display 7 days a week. I'm Eric Engberg, CBS News.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. You're just in time to join me for an adventure in suspense and terror. The most heart-stopping terror of all. Not the terror of the eccentric, the grotesque, or bizarre, but the chilling terror that slowly emerges when one discovers that all the standards, the laws, the customs that have so naturally governed our existence have suddenly been revoked or repealed and no longer apply. Gone are the familiar, the everyday usages which regulated life in a comfortable, predictable flow. And you are suddenly confronted with a living nightmare of chaos and anarchy. Our mystery drama, To Kill with Confidence, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Marion Seldes. There are men who give more solid thought to the choosing of a car than to the selection of a wife. There are girls who will take more time and care in deciding on a fall outfit than in picking a husband. Who is to blame? A good deal of it can be placed on the shoulders of society, which somehow tries to imply that marriages are made in heaven. This being the case, why bother being too careful down here below? At any rate, let us consider this extremely attractive, newly married young couple driving along a superhighway near a Midwestern city.
Why don't we get off the turnpike, darling?
Is anything wrong?
No, I just thought I'd like a change of scene.
Okay, next exit.
You're an angel.
Well, it's getting on toward lunchtime, and I think this is a town where they have a place that serves the most fantastic sauerbraten.
Really?
Mm-hmm. A landmark. You know, one of those terribly authentic restaurants. Ruth, dear, you are in for a treat.
Except for one thing.
What's that?
I happen to despise sauerbraten.
Uh-oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry, dearest. You and I, well, we'll never have days like this again.
Days like what?
Well, let's call them days of discovery. Days of getting to know each other. Days of finding out about each other.
Such as, you don't like sauerbraten.
What don't you like?
Oh, I like everything.
Even artichokes?
Especially artichokes. You'll have absolutely no trouble feeding us.
I think that's why I fell in love with you. You're so even-tempered.
Oh, no, you don't know that for a fact. I may have been on my best behavior all this time.
Well, I just can't picture you as anything but... Well,
but what?
Sweet. Calm. Nice.
Well, I tried to keep my temper. I learned what it can mean to lose it.
Oh, what happened?
Now, that was a long time ago, darling. I found out what it can mean to lose your sense of balance and values, and, well, I plan to make amends for all that.
Do you want to talk about it?
No. And I'll tell you why.
Oh, no, you don't have to explain.
No, what I'll have to do is explain why I won't explain. Can you follow that?
Sure.
I have to put it all completely out of my mind. I have to go so far as to convince myself that it never even happened.
I understand. And I may have one or two deep, dark secrets of my own.
Well, keep them. That's what I dreamed about, to start a fresh, brand new, clean slate. Agreed?
Agreed. Now, I tell you what let's do. Let's have sauerbraten anyhow.
Oh, no.
Well, you have it. I'll order something simple like hamburger.
Oh, no, not in this place.
Why?
Well, you won't enjoy lunch. The waiters are such frightful snobs. If they sense you're not there for the special...
Oh, it's that kind of a place.
We don't have to have lunch there. We can stay on the turnpike.
No. Look, here's the exit. Let's turn off.
Well,
you did have your heart set on...
Uh-oh.
What is it? Is something wrong?
Well, the car, I think it's that mysterious vibration. Do you hear it?
I don't know.
Well, that funny noise.
Oh, Leo, darling, to me these things sound funny all the time. Is it something serious?
I hope not.
Well, look, we have 1,000 miles still to go. We'd better have it checked.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, but in case it is serious, do we have enough cash?
Well, that's no problem, darling. We'll stop off at the first station that honors a transnational credit card.
But I thought the card's only good for gasoline.
No, all repairs do. Oh, look, just up ahead, there's a big blue transnational sign that says Frank's Quality Service. Let's pull in and have the motor checked.
Well, are we in for some major surgery?
It's a rocker arm.
Oh, what does that mean?
Well, it means more labor than anything else, and he's short-handed.
In other words?
In other words, it'll take some time, darling.
Well, does that fit in with our plans? We did intend to have some lunch. And
We could do that, darling, except,
What is it?
Well, you remember I told you what happened to me last time I needed emergency repairs. Well, that decided me. When you're having work done in a strange town, a place you don't know, you really should stick around, keep an eye on it.
That's right, of course.
Well, I know it'll be a bore for you.
Well, I could shop.
Could you?
Your birthday's the day after tomorrow. I'd love an hour or so. I'll look for something and I'll be able to surprise you.
Well, that's a great idea. Now, what's this fellow's name? Say, Frank.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, Mr. Renard. Yeah, what can I do for you?
You've got about an hour on my car?
Oh, say an hour and a half and be safe.
Well, my wife would like to do a little shopping.
Well, you're in luck. We got us a shopping center just 3 blocks from here. It's called the Golden Mall.
The Golden Mall?
Yeah. They got the top stores there. All the big ones from New York, Chicago.
How do I get there?
Oh, it's just 3 blocks up. See that traffic light?
Yeah.
You turn left, go 1 block. There it is. The Golden Mall.
Well, thank you.
She'll come back loaded with packages. You won't thank me.
Darling, make sure you remember the name of this place.
Yeah. It's Frank's 24-hour quality service. Open 24 hours a day. Everybody in town knows me.
Well, let's see. It's exactly 12 noon. Darling, I'll see you at 1:30.
Make sure you remember the address, ma'am. It's 1776 Jefferson. I mean, how can you forget that one, huh? Service. Frank speaking.
Oh, is Mr. Renard there? He should be having his car fixed.
Mr. Renard? Oh, yeah, sure thing. Hold on, huh? Mr. Renard! Hello?
Leo, darling.
Oh, for a moment,
What is it, darling?
Nothing, dear. Nothing at all.
Must have been something.
Yes. I just, couldn't imagine who'd be calling me here. Is everything okay?
No.
Darling, what's wrong?
I miss you, that's all. You realize we've been separated for almost 45 minutes?
Oh.
You miss me?
Terribly.
All right. I just called you up to keep the record clear. Will he be finished on schedule?
Looks that way. About another half to 3/4 of an hour.
All right, I'll be there 1:30 on the dot. I don't like these long separations.
Neither do I.
Goodbye, darling.
Bye.
Taxi! Taxi!
Where to, ma'am?
1776 Jefferson Boulevard.
Okay. Heavy day in the stores, ma'am?
Oh, no, I just bought a little present for my husband's birthday.
Excuse me. Let me call it to the dispatcher. 37, headed south to Jefferson, 1700 block. 17... Just a minute.
Why are we stopping?
Where did you say you wanted to go on Jefferson Boulevard?
1776. That's a number you can't forget.
Well, maybe you can't forget it, but you sure can get it mixed up. You don't want to go to 1776.
Why?
Because there ain't nothing on that 1700 block worth going to.
Well, I distinctly remember
Look, ma'am, I know this town. Now, give me a street, any street, I'll run it down. On 1700 block of Jefferson, you got the old foundry. It's been deserted these past 18 years.
And Frank's 24-hour quality service station.
No more, you don't.
How can you say that?
I can say that because Frank's been dead, let's see, it's 3 years now.
Well, the sign said...
Nobody ever bothered taking the sign down. It's too much trouble. That part of town, you can write it off.
Well, I spoke to Frank this morning.
No, lady, you didn't speak to Frank. Believe me. Nobody's spoken to Frank in 3 years. Well, maybe St. Peter. Although I don't think Frank would have gone up there.
My husband is having his car fixed at Frank's right now.
Yeah?
So would you please take me to 1776 Jefferson Boulevard?
But, Pam...
Now, shall I call a policeman or shall I hail another cab?
Well, ma'am, here you are. 1776 Jefferson.
And it says Frank's Quality Service, so I was right. What were you trying to...
Look at what else it says on the windows. Those big signs.
This property for sale. No!
Look, ma'am, the place is empty. It's been empty since Frank died.
But it can't be.
We were high school pals, Frank and I.
Look, I was here just this morning. I was here.
I remember going to Frank's wake.
We drove in, and those signs weren't up there. There were cars parked and men working in there,
And we went to the funeral.
He told Leo, my husband, he told Leo that the rocker arm needed fixing.
Ma'am, are you sure you want this place?
My husband. I left my husband here.
No, ma'am, I'm afraid you didn't leave anything or anybody.
Leo is in there, in that garage.
Where are you going? Can't you see it's locked? It's been locked for 3 years. There's nobody in there. I'm telling you, there's nobody in there.
What happened to my husband? What did they do to my husband?
Now, calm down, ma'am. Think. Aren't you sure this is the same?
I'm sure. I know. Don't you try to talk me out of it. I know. I was here exactly 1.5 hours ago. I was here. This place was open. This service station was operating, and there was a man here, Frank.
How do you know his name was Frank?
Because the name was written on his shirt.
Look, ma'am, I don't know what's going on.
My husband. I want my husband. Now, what happened to him?
Ma'am, try to hold on to yourself. Don't pass out, please. Don't faint on me. I wouldn't know what to do. Here, let me help you back to the cab.
Leo, what did they do to Leo?
Oh, no. 37. 37. Come in, quit fooling, answer me. This is 37. Get me some cops. Get an ambulance. Get everybody over to 1776 Jefferson. On the double, huh?
Well, how do you figure it? Frank's 24-hour quality service. Now you see it, now you don't. Nightmare? Illusion? Reality? Which are we dealing with? Could it be a mixture of all three? I'll return with some answers, but also with some more questions when I return in just a few moments with Act 2. Why don't you do some shopping while I'm having the car checked? Asks newlywed Leo Renard of his wife Ruth. Reasonable enough. And so, when her shopping is finished, Ruth returns to discover that the car is gone. Leo has disappeared, and the service station has been closed these past 3 years.
And you insist you actually were at that particular service station, Mrs. Renard?
Doctor, I know you're trying to be helpful, but we aren't going to get anywhere.
Why do you say that?
Well, to begin with, we have a severe difference of opinion.
But you...
Wait, please. Let me finish. You think I'm crazy.
That isn't true.
Well, you have a medical term for it, I'm sure. Something to take the sharp, rough edge off it. But at this point, according to you, I'm not behaving normally. Now, does that state the case?
Well, look at it rationally.
Which, according to you, I'm not doing now.
That service station has been closed for 3 years. The man who owned it and ran it
has been dead all this time.
Then how do you account for the fact that my husband and I were there this morning?
Would you agree to submit to some tests, Mrs. Renard?
I'll agree to anything at this point. I'll agree to anything that will convince you that I am as sane as you are. And once we establish that, and you start believing me, then perhaps we can find out what happened to Leo. Yes?
May I come in?
Who are you?
Lieutenant Powell, City Police.
Oh, suppose you can come in? What do you want?
I want to help you.
Well, you won't help me by telling me I'm crazy.
Why would I do that?
Because that's all the others can think of.
Well, to begin with, you don't look crazy.
Well, thanks. Do you have any influence around here?
A little. What do you need?
What I need is to get out of this hospital.
What you need is rest.
What I need is my husband.
I spoke to the doctors.
What do the doctors say to you?
You're suffering from shock.
I'll buy that.
You evidently can't face the fact that your husband has deserted you.
No, that's off the mark.
All right, tell me about it.
Oh, I've already told it to 3 different police officers.
Yeah, but I'm the one that counts. How long were you married?
2 weeks.
Where?
Is all this important?
Everything's important.
We were married in Reliance City.
By whom?
Well, what does that have
By
to
whom?
do? The Justice of the Peace.
His name?
His name was Dunley. No, Dunleavy. Well, that's what the sign said. Emmett Dunleavy, J.P.
How long did you know your husband?
Well, it was one of those love at first sight things. But, of course, you being a cop, you wouldn't believe in that.
Oh, but I do. It's the only way. Tell me about him.
Well, he was in town on business.
What was his business?
Why is that your business?
Why is that an unreasonable question?
Because
you don't know and you're ashamed to admit it.
That's a lie.
Instead of asking, maybe I better tell you a few things. You don't really know what he did for a living, if anything.
But that's just...
It's all right. You don't have to say anything. Let's talk about the money.
The money?
The money you gave him.
How do you know?
My dear Mrs. Renard, you are now a member of a certain unfortunate sisterhood.
What are you insinuating about my husband?
Well, let's stick to the facts. How much of your money does he have?
It's not my money any longer.
It isn't?
No, when we married, we agreed to share everything.
And how much did you share with him?
Well, I had an inheritance from an aunt who died, and she left me
Yes, she left you...
$51,000.
I see.
I don't know what you think you see. We were going to invest it in the new business.
What new business?
He was interested in real estate, and I was a public stenographer at the hotel where he used to have dinner, and that's how we happened to meet. And we were going to go to Florida and get into a land development deal.
$51,000. In cash?
No, bonds. We put it in bonds.
Negotiable bonds, no doubt.
Well, we had to be able to raise cash in a hurry.
Of course.
Well, it just wasn't my money. He had close to $50,000 of his own.
You know this for a fact?
Well, that's what he said.
Now look, Mrs. Renard, I want to help you. I want to find him. Hopefully we can recover all, or at least some, of your money.
Why do you insist that he ran out on me? I've told you what happened.
You simply can't face the truth, can you? And you've created an hallucination about a garage.
Don't you start behaving like a psychiatrist, too.
Now look, the sooner we get you to face reality, the sooner we can get you to think rationally and maybe give us some leads.
Look, I told you.
What we have to do is get rid of this service station delusion of yours.
But it isn't a delusion.
I spoke to the doctor. Lying around here in bed isn't doing you any good. I asked him if I could get you to work with me. Now, you can't remain here indefinitely. You're going to have to start some kind of new life for yourself.
Are you saying that Leo is...
I'm saying, one way or another, Leo is gone.
No.
Right now, I'll go talk to your doctor. Pick you up in about an hour, is that all right?
Wait, I want to thank you.
Yes, well, maybe now you're beginning to face reality.
Maybe. Maybe.
Maybe what?
Oh, I don't know. I'm so...
Sure. It's a bad spot to be in.
You're really very kind.
No, I'm not. It's just a technique. Don't let it fool you.
Well, at least you've made me feel better.
You ready to face it?
I think so. Whatever it is, I guess I'm ready to face it.
You wanted to see what Mrs. Renard was carrying when she was brought here, Lieutenant?
It's important, Doctor.
Well, we're about to give her things back, since we're releasing her. Just her clothes.
That's not important.
A handbag. And this package. It's from Milady's.
Well, that's the most exclusive women's shop this side of New York.
I suppose she believed in treating herself right.
Why not? It was her money. Anything in the handbag?
Oh, the usual odds and ends.
Papers?
We couldn't find any.
Driver's license?
Nothing. No credit cards. No identification.
Oh, now that doesn't sound right.
Well, she said she was going off just briefly to shop, and she didn't want to be loaded down with a big handbag. So she just took her small purse with some money and makeup, left everything else in the car. There is this snapshot.
Must be Leo.
He'd have to be Leo.
You know something? He looks familiar.
He looks familiar because you've convinced yourself he's a confidence man.
That's right, he has to be. A smooth, experienced operator, too, which means he's been around, which means he may have done time, which means there's a make on him. His photo's been passed around throughout the country, and I would have seen it, and so maybe I'm remembering it subconsciously.
All you cops are getting into psychiatry these days.
Is that good or bad? Listen, let me borrow this snapshot. I'll have the boys run it down.
Yes, Lieutenant, I've decided. I've called a hotel. I'll take a place there, and when my money runs out, which will be pretty soon, I can find a job. I intend to stay here until...
Until what?
Until I find Leo, or learn what happened to Leo.
Now, you say you were married by a justice of the peace in Reliance City.
That's right, and I'll never forget the man's name, Emmett Dunleavy. That's what the sign said in front of his house.
Who recommended him? I mean, how did you know to go to him?
Well, we got our license and we were driving along and we saw the sign.
Who was driving?
Leo.
Go on.
Well, that was it. We went inside and we were married.
I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so, Lieutenant? What would you know about it?
All I'm saying, I don't think you were married.
Now, just a minute. The ceremony was performed.
We checked the city hall in Reliance City, and there's no record of your marriage.
But there has to be. Ruth Olson to Leo Renard.
No record of anyone named Renard getting married to anyone at all.
What are you trying to do to me?
And there's no justice of the peace named Emmett Dunleavy in Reliance City either.
But that was his name. The sign distinctly said that his name...
Look, I know it's hard to face so many disagreeable facts all at once, but there's no help for it.
Oh, I know what you think. You think Leo is a confidence man who was out to swindle me.
I'm going by what appear to be the facts in the case. I'm going by experience.
Well, I wouldn't fight you except...
Except that you love him.
Well, love doesn't make you blind. It's just... Well, there's one fact I simply cannot account for.
Yeah?
No matter what anyone says, Leo and I stopped at that service station. No matter what anyone says, it was open for business. No matter what anyone says, there was a man named Frank, and he said he'd fix the car in an hour and a half, and that I'd have time to go shopping.
Well, here we are. As you can see, closed, deserted. For rent sign on the window. Face it, Ruth, face it.
But it was real. So real.
Transnational gas pumps, okay? I called their office. They told me. Hasn't been a delivery here in 3 years since they canceled the franchise because the owner, Frank Walker, had died.
But it was real. It was real.
Now think, Ruth. What did happen?
I just don't know. Oh, God, Lieutenant, am I losing my mind?
But the service station was there. A man named Frank was there. We heard him speak. Or did we? Did the conversation actually take place at 1776 Jefferson Boulevard? Or was it all taking place in the mind of Ruth Renard, whose last name may not even be Renard, since there's no record of her marriage either? I'll be back shortly with Act 3. She still insists she left her car there to be fixed under the watchful eye of her husband. The authorities insist that Leo ran out on her, or perhaps there never was a Leo, and she creates this fiction because she cannot accept reality. Well, what is reality?
Well, come on. Let's take a look at the place. As you can see, Ruth, deserted.
But as you can see, Lieutenant, it's spick and span. How clean this place looks. Does this have the appearance of a shop that's been closed for 3 years? Well, where's all the litter that would collect? Why aren't these windows grimy and dusty?
I checked it out with the real estate people. They keep the place shaped up. After all, they are trying to get rid of the place, you know.
I was inside this place yesterday.
But there's a padlock on the door.
Whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, I know this. I was here.
Okay, let's go inside. The real estate people gave me the key.
You don't believe me. It's obvious by your manner.
Well, that's no good. It's bad for me to have an obvious manner.
I'm sorry. I know you're trying to be nice.
I'm only trying to find some answers. Come on in. Well, does it look familiar?
This only makes me more certain. I was here. I stood right here at this counter when Leo came out of the shop, which is right through that door, with Frank.
Yeah?
And told me what had to be done with the car.
What you're saying is this visit only reinforces your conviction that you were here.
Absolutely.
Well, let's stay with that for a little while anyhow. How long were you gone?
Exactly an hour and a half. I've already told.
Yeah, I know. Are you sure?
Positive.
And what did you do?
But I already... All right, never mind. I went to this Golden Mall.
Yes, and?
And I shopped.
Buy anything?
Well, I wasn't in too much of a mood for shopping. I missed Leo, and I was hungry. So I ran into a shop and I picked up a nightgown.
That took an hour and a half?
No, I wandered around. I looked in windows, had a cup of coffee, and I even called Leo. I was away from him for 3/4 of an hour, and I missed him so much I just had to call him.
You called Leo here?
Yes, here.
Here. I don't see a phone here.
Well, there must be. I phoned him. I spoke with him. How can you...
Well, where's the phone?
I don't know. Maybe it's in the office.
The office?
Well, maybe the man, Frank, has a private office, and that's where his phone
Well,
is.
let's look around. Yeah, you're right. He's got a little cubbyhole here with a desk. Sure enough, a phone.
Well, finally, have I said something you can believe?
The phone's dead. No dial tone. Guess it isn't connected.
I spoke on that phone to Leo. And the man, Frank, he answered it.
Sure.
Oh, your tone of voice.
Please, I don't mean anything.
You can't help it. You want to be nice to me, but you think I'm crazy.
No, I'm trying to go along with it.
With what?
With everything you say. What we need right now, more than anything else, is a break. Who knows? Maybe we'll get one.
Kind of you to take me to dinner.
It's a line of duty. I can even put it on my expense account.
You said that you had an important development.
I think we do.
Well, can you tell me?
We think we know who Leo is.
What do you mean? You know who he is?
His real name is Wallace. Leo Wallace.
That's impossible.
Better let me finish.
But
listen, we had his picture.
Where? How? I mean, how could you get his picture?
It was in your handbag.
Oh.
I ran it through the routine, and there's a very strong likeness to a Leo Wallace. A very skillful confidence man.
Oh.
Leo had turned in a very big score. He'd flim-flammed some old gent out of about $1.5 million.
Well, I don't believe it.
Maybe you'd better hear it first. He denied it. The jury voted against him. He got a minimum of 10 years, but there was an appeal. Just a few months ago, they found some irregularities in the trial, and he was freed.
Oh.
How about the money?
The money?
The money he's supposed to have stolen.
Oh.
If he did steal it, he has it hidden somewhere, so you see, there's a motive on someone's part to get him and get at the money.
I never dreamed that Leo could...
Yeah, well, as I say, we can't prove it. All we know is that your Leo's picture looks like this Leo Wallace.
Then I don't have to be crazy. This could have all been just a plot, don't you see? You thought Leo was out to steal my money, and as it turns out, there were people after Leo. They could have arranged the whole service station setup. Well?
Well, it's not impossible.
Well, then can't you do something?
How he could have arrived at this service station is something I'll get to later. The fact is, he did go there.
Well, I tell you he did. We did.
If only we can put him there, things would make sense. You wouldn't be crazy. We'd have a lead. Why pick Frank's service station? It isn't the first one you came to.
It was the first transnational gas station, and that was his credit card.
Are you capable of being objective right now?
I'm trying to prove to you I am not crazy.
Well, pretend for a moment that all this happened to somebody else. Pretend that this is a story I'm telling you.
I don't see why.
A young woman tells a cab driver to take her to a non-existent gas station.
But I had been there with my husband.
We don't know that. We only have your word for it. So, when they arrive, she becomes hysterical and she tells the story you've told us. Okay, we check. We find out there is no record of the girl's marriage. No record of the justice who she claims married her to her husband. Her husband is most likely a notorious confidence operator, newly released from jail.
Why would I lie
to continue, please? Now, we know very little about the girl herself. She worked at the hotel in Reliance City as a public stenographer for only a month. There's no family.
I lost my parents years ago. I'm an only child. I had one aunt who's dead.
Well, everything is so vague. We can't find anyone who's ever seen this girl with her husband.
But we stopped at 3 motels between here and Reliance City.
No one remembers seeing a Mr. Renard.
Well, you can check their registers. They must prove that Mr. and Mrs. Renard stopped there.
2 of the clerks remember a Mrs. Renard.
That's because I went into the lobby to sign the registers while Leo took care of the bags.
Now, once again, we have that same problem. Admit it now. If this were someone else's story, would you believe it?
All right, I know. It sounds like... But if it is a hallucination, where did it start? No, it's real.
You said to the cabbie that you bought a gift for your husband.
I did.
No, you didn't. You bought a nightgown at Milady.
Oh, but
Why would you lie? Well, maybe it isn't a lie. Maybe subconsciously you know you don't have a husband, therefore you really couldn't buy him a present.
Then why would I have his picture in my purse?
You may have found it somewhere. Maybe without knowing it, you fell in love with his picture and...
Why is it all so real?
I keep tripping you up all the time. Your story has so many holes. For instance, why do you say you called from the mall when that phone has been disconnected for 3 years?
But I did call. You have to believe me.
Well, that means I have to believe your whole story, all of it.
All of it is true.
Yeah, and yet I can't check any of it. Wait a minute. There's one part I can check. And if you're telling me the truth about that one little part, then the whole story could make sense.
What is that part?
No, I don't want to get your hopes up. I'll see you at the hotel.
Oh, but I'd like to know.
No, there isn't very much I can do about it till the morning anyhow.
Sergeant Flowers?
It's Lieutenant Powell. Sergeant, there's a telephone at 1776 Jefferson Boulevard. You got that?
Yes, sir.
It should have been disconnected for about 3 years. I want you to find out if it was temporarily restored to service recently. If so, by whom? Somebody had to pay a deposit. I want the name and address.
Yes, sir.
I want that information immediately.
Okay, Leo, take a little drink. That's good. It'll make you feel better. There you are. Now, you gonna be sensible?
You can drop that.
Leo, as long as you're willing to catch, I can pitch. Be reasonable. I don't want all the money.
I don't care if you kill me.
It can come to that. Now, look, the old guy's dead. You can't give it back to him anymore.
He has a family.
And every one of them a millionaire. Leo, why should the rich always get richer? I seen crooks like you go soft. Start to worry about right and wrong. Believe me, it don't last. It wears off. I'm only trying to save you from yourself.
You punk, I should have recognized you at that gas station.
Hey, wasn't it a great wig and a mustache? I look good in it, huh? Leo, back in the jailhouse, I protected you against all those dudes who wanted to shake the secret out of you. I saved your life. You promised me my peace. I'm entitled. I'm entitled. I'll kill you.
You punk. You're at the end of the line. You blew it. You blew it. You'll kill me for nothing, and this time they'll send you up for life.
Never. You think I'm not going to kill you if you don't lead us to the door. That's wrong. I'll kill you.
Go ahead, punk. Go ahead.
Please, Leo, don't make me do it.
Hit him one more time, punk, and I'll blow your head off.
Hey, what?
Keep your hands up high where I can see him. That's good. Bill, Eddie, hustle this one down to headquarters.
You sucker. We could have been rich. We could have been rich. What do you get out of it this way?
So, you're Leo. You all right?
Yeah. Takes more than a punk like you.
Hey, let me get you untied. I guess she was telling the truth all this time, huh? Can you stand?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You're quite a guy, Leo. I have to go to headquarters to book him. I'll need you, too.
Sure.
I know you want to see Ruth. Why don't I drop you off at her hotel? You'll want to be alone for a while.
Yeah, thanks.
You can both come down later. There's no hurry.
Just a minute. Leo. Oh, Leo, darling.
Hello, Ruth.
Leo, how did you... What made you... No, I don't want to talk. I just want to hold you. Leo. Oh, Leo, are you...
Crazy? No.
Oh.
But I would be if I couldn't figure it out.
Figure what out?
That gas station, that was all a setup.
Leo.
How did they know I would stop right there, huh?
What?
How could they be sure? Somebody had to loosen a gasket just enough to make that noise. Somebody had to say, let's get off the highway at that particular exit.
What?
Somebody had to practically lead me by the hand right into the setup.
Leo, why would I...
$1.5 million. That's a big enough.
Leo, I love you.
Oh, sure.
How can you even think
And
that
it's the right way to do it, too. I disappear. You become the poor, distraught, deserted wife. The mobsters figure you've been double-crossed, too. The heat's off you forever.
Leo, how can I convince you? What can I say?
It's a great plan, baby. Even the phone call, that little cubbyhole office. The only place in the station that isn't open to view from the street. The only place where it's safe to jump me. That's why you installed the phone. Get me out of sight, distract me.
Leo, please.
But the punk blew it. He gave his right name to the phone company, his correct address. So they were able to check him out. The punk wanted to save a $30 deposit. For $30. He blew his shot at $1.5 million.
Leo, I swear
he always
to
was
you.
a punk. And now for you, baby.
Leo. Why are you looking at me like that?
I think I'm gonna kill you.
Leo, it's all in your mind.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I swear I had nothing to do with it. I love you. I love you. Let me prove it. Wait, here. Look, that's my purse on the night table. See? In the purse there's a .22 caliber revolver. You look inside it. All right. You'll find it. Now, if you really think I'm guilty, go ahead and kill me. We'll shoot. Kill me. What are you waiting for? See, you can't do it. You love me. You can't do it. You love
Leo,
me.
don't be crazy.
Lieutenant Powell, Leo's going crazy.
Just stay where you are, Powell. Just stay there.
Leo, what are you going to do? Are you out of your mind? I let you come up here alone so you could figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, I understand, and I have to kill her.
Lieutenant, you can't just stand there.
There's nothing he or anyone else can do, Ruth, except... Hey, Powell, if she goes to jail, what can she get?
At least 10.
10, huh? In 10 years, that beauty, that terrible, overpowering beauty of hers that blinds you, that beauty will be gone. She'll be old, worn and bitter, as good as dead, with almost half a lifetime still in front of her.
Leo, give me a chance.
If I kill her now, it's too easy.
Leo.
That will be over in a second. Take her, Lieutenant, take her. We'll kill her the right way, legally, just...
Leo, I love you.
I love you too, Ruth. I love you more than anything in this whole wide world. But I'll get over it.
You'll never get over me.
Oh, I'll get over you, baby. And if I can't, if I don't, if I still love you 10 years from now, I'll be waiting for you. Outside the prison gate.
Did Leo get over Ruth? Or did his love continue? Did he meet her at the prison gate 10 years after? We don't know. It hasn't been 10 years yet. What a story that would make. And we hope all of us will be around 10 years from now to hear it. I'll be back shortly. As we said earlier, most men devote more time to the choice of a car than to the study of the girl they pick for a wife. Why? Well, perhaps it's because all of us love suspense. We delight in being surprised. Another reason why you should always listen to our program. Let us fill your normal and natural need for suspense, and thus you are free to be more rational, sober-minded in real life. Our cast included Marion Seldes, George Petrie, Larry Haynes, and Gil Mack. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. From time to time, we come across a story so unexplainable, so incredible, that we just cannot pass it by. So today, no mystery to challenge your powers of deduction, for there is no rational explanation of what happened. However, if you care to accompany me into the land of the uncharted and unknown, I think it will be well worth your while. Certain things that occur have no explanation, but that makes them no less worthy of repeating on Mystery Theater.
Our mystery drama, Second Sight, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by James Agate Jr. and stars Michael Tolan. I'll be back shortly with Act One. To put you in a receptive frame of mind for today's Mystery Theater, let me ask you this. Suppose you looked into the mirror, but didn't see your own reflection. Or suppose you opened a newspaper, and there was your own obituary. Or suppose you saw in a flash something that had not yet happened. Would you feel you were responsible if the following day it did come to pass, and it was a murder? Questions like these are not answered easily, if at all, by scientist, doctor, or psychiatrist. Certainly not by Dr. Marvin Kingsley.
Dr. Kingsley, it's good of you to see me on such short notice.
I'm happy to work with your Air Pilots Association. Your full name, please.
Alan Harvey.
And you're an airline pilot, correct?
I was an airline pilot, but...
You don't have to say any more. I'm aware of your problem.
But I want to say more. If you're going to help me, Dr. Kingsley, I've got to tell you everything as I see it, not as my airline sees it.
Go ahead.
I've been on international flights for 10 years. I've flown around the world I don't know how many times. I'm a million-mile pilot several times over. And then, one day on my flight to the Caribbean, it happened. I'll never forget it. We were making good time, in spite of headwinds and visibility zero.
Are you still on automatic, Alan?
What'd you say, Charlie?
I said, are
Charlie,
you still...
Look out there. Do you see what I see?
Yeah. Nothing.
No, that object flying across at 3 o'clock.
Come on, Alan. There's nothing out there.
Check the scope, will you?
Nothing. Nothing's on the scope.
Not a blip?
Not a blip.
It's gone.
Alan, are you all right?
Of course I'm all right.
I don't know. You're seeing things I don't see.
That was the first time, Dr. Kingsley.
You thought you saw an object in the sky?
I didn't think I saw it. I know I saw it.
During the month of September, you reported sighting various objects in mid-flight which made no impression on the electronic monitoring gear.
That's why I was grounded. I was just as glad. You know, Doctor, you can take just so much kidding about seeing unidentifiable flying objects.
UFOs?
I never saw any UFOs. I saw men in the sky, standing upright, holding flags, national colors which I couldn't identify. I saw mountaintops with cows grazing on them. A skyscraper 100 stories high in black marble. I saw too much. What do you think, Doctor?
Well, what you saw in the skies is obviously very real to you. Now, for starters, I'm going to recommend a complete rest, but I mean complete.
Rest? I'll go crazy doing nothing.
Oh, I neglected to ask you, Alan. Are you married?
No, I'm not. I was once, but that was a long time ago. I live by myself.
Here in Greenfield?
Right on North Chatham Street.
No, I'm not suggesting you just sit and vegetate. Do you have any hobbies or interests other than your job?
Well, let me see. Years ago, I was interested in becoming a painter. Even now, I've sort of kept up. Sometimes I'll take a sketch pad and draw.
Oh, good. What kind of things?
Lately, I've been drawing the objects I've observed from the cockpit.
Well, why not enroll in some art class? That would occupy you, challenge you. You know, the university I teach at has a very fine art department. Would that appeal to you?
What good would it do me? I'm a flyer. I'm never going to make it as an artist.
Well, it would give you another outlet for your energies. Let me put in a call to Jacob Greer, who runs the department. He teaches a few classes also. See, I know Jacob personally, and I'm sure he'd take you in.
I don't know. How long should I do it?
Well, let's not set any limits for the present. See, there's one thing you need more than anything else, and perhaps drawing in a class with other people will help you achieve it.
What one thing? What do I need?
Peace of mind, Alan.
I'm happy to meet you, Mr. Harvey. I'm Jacob Greer. Marvin Kingsley tells me you'd like to join one of our art classes. Have you ever drawn a live model before?
No, I haven't, Mr. Greer. I've brought along the kind of sketches I've done. Mostly in my spare time, you understand.
Uh-huh. Well, pretty extraordinary. Most imaginative. These people standing about in the clouds... Oh, it's very imaginative.
Most of what I do is what I've seen.
You have a good feeling for... I hope this wasn't drawn from life. What is it? It looks like the fuselage of a big airliner with a lot of bodies strewn about.
Yes, that's what it is. I did that one yesterday.
That's gruesome. Well, I think you have some talent, and if you'd like to join our class, it's Tuesdays and Fridays from 1 o'clock until 4 in the studio.
I'd like to.
Let me hang on to some of these drawings of yours, may I?
Sure.
This airplane crash is certainly powerful. Now, I'll be seeing Marvin Kingsley tonight. We have a running chess game on Monday evenings, have for years. I'll tell him you're joining us. Checkmate, Marvin, old boy.
I saw it coming, Jacob. You know, you're going to qualify as a grandmaster one of these days.
You're off your game. I know you, Marv.
You're right. I wasn't concentrating.
Marv, that fellow Alan Harvey you sent me, he's a strange sort of man. Quite gifted. I've seen his portfolio. Have you known him for long?
Well, as a matter of fact, I haven't. See, he came to me because he was having some problems in relaxing.
Oh, I didn't ask you what his problem was.
You know, I don't discuss my patients, Jacob. Let's say he may have some guilts, and I prescribed your art course as a vacation from those guilts.
Well, I'll say this, he has a lot of talent. There was one drawing he showed me that...
Hey, do you mind if I turn this step? I'd like to catch the evening news.
No, I'll go make us some coffee. Oh, I forgot to get cream, darn it.
Don't worry, I can take it black.
A jet airliner carrying 200 people crashed into a corporate plane at 6 o'clock tonight after traffic controllers radioed conflicting instructions. This is the scene behind me. One of the worst air disasters to strike this area in the history of aviation. According to...
What is it? What happened?
Oh, something with the TV set. They've still got the picture, but there's no sound.
Do you see that shot of the field? Wait, it can't be. Good Lord.
Oh, no, I'll turn it off if it upsets you. It's all those bodies.
No, that's not what I mean. Turn it off.
No, they'll get the sound back in a minute. They still got the picture.
Turn it off, please.
Okay.
I want to show you something. Here. This is one of the drawings your Alan Harvey left with me.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see?
Grisly, almost photographically detailed drawing of a smashed airliner.
And smashed people. Well,
what are you trying to tell me, Jacob?
Doesn't this drawing look exactly like what we just saw on the tube? But exactly?
Yes, I suppose there is a similarity. Oh, I forgot to tell you. You see, Alan Harvey was an airline pilot, so I suppose he drew that from some experience he had.
Marvin, my mind deals in pictures. I would say there's not just a similarity. The real accident and what this man has drawn are identical.
Oh, but how could they be? You said you saw him this morning. He couldn't have drawn it at the airport. It just happened at 6 o'clock tonight.
He said he did it yesterday.
Well, I'll bet if you went through the files and matched the photographs, there's a sameness about most air crashes.
I hope you're right.
I don't understand why you're so upset, Jacob. What else could it be?
It got me to thinking, that's all.
Well, what's your problem?
If Alan Harvey can draw a future occurrence before it happens, I'd say we all have a problem. We welcome today a new member to our life class, Alan Harvey. Miss Johnson, we'll have 2 minutes of warm-up poses, and then we'll begin the longer poses. Arthur, why don't you put your easel beside Alan so that if there's anything he doesn't know, you can fill him in? All right, Miss Johnson.
I'm new to this. What are warm-up poses?
You'll see. Those are the action poses Miss Johnson does up there. You know, poses that no model could hold very long. That one, see? One leg up and hand extended, sort of like a dance pose.
I'm supposed to draw that? What's she doing?
You certainly are, Alan. That's it. Use your charcoal. Fine. Good. Just a few action lines. Alan, that's very good. Contour is excellent.
Well,
fine.
What did he say your name was?
Arthur
Really
Lewis.
excellent.
I'm Alan Harvey.
Say, hey, you're not bad.
That's good.
How can she hold that pose?
Try a little bit more.
Leaning over, one hand way down and the other way up.
Because Miss Johnson is a professional model, Alan. And now suppose we have less talk and more drawing, okay? Good. Yeah. Just a couple of contour lines, Alan. We're not projecting the model's complete form. You mind if I stand behind you, Alan?
Oh, no. No, not at all, Professor Greer.
Wait a minute. Let me see that one you just turned over.
Oh, it's nothing, really. I didn't even know what I was drawing.
Alan, one of the things you've got to learn about our work, no one can afford to be shy or modest. Looking, appraising, it's the only way for me to gauge your progress.
Well, it isn't anything.
Let me be the judge of that. Now pull that page back. You just sketched this?
It took me all of 2 minutes. I told you it wasn't any good.
It's very good. It's just that, I'm a little taken aback at what you drew.
Taken aback?
Isn't that a drawing of our model, Miss Johnson? Lying across that bed, bruises on her neck, eyes staring open as if she'd just been strangled to death.
I warned you, didn't I? This would be a story hard to explain. If you like, let's begin by believing some events are coincidence, or, as the phrase goes, a strange coincidence. However, the model, Miss Johnson, isn't dead yet, and as we know, Alan Harvey's wings were clipped for seeing things that weren't there. Did I say foreseeing? Just a coincidence. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. Do you remember the old story of the 3 blind men who were asked to describe an elephant? One felt the big wide body and said, "It's a wall of leather." The second put his arms around one of the animal's legs and said, "It's the trunk of a tree." And the third blind man felt the elephant's tail and said, "It's a snake." All were mistaken, for none could really see the elephant. Are we perhaps also limited in our vision? And what we think exists may not? Is Alan Harvey able to see what really is with a special second sight that is not ours?
I'll be frank with you. It disturbed me to discover I'd been drawing our model, Miss Johnson, as a victim of a murder. I'd never given it a second look. The truth is, I didn't even remember drawing it. Professor Greer kept looking at what I'd done with this horrified expression. So I was pretty shaken when I came back to class on Friday and set up my easel next to Arthur Lewis.
Ladies and gentlemen, today Miss Johnson will skip the warm-up poses. The pose she will now assume will be the one held for the entire session. 20-minute poses in the first hour and a half with the usual 5-minute rest periods. All right, any questions?
Yes, Professor Greer?
Miss Johnson?
It's a little chilly in the studio this morning. Could I have a heater placed near me?
Of course. Arthur, would you be good enough to get the electric heater out of my office? Can't afford to have our Miss Johnson catch cold.
My progress that day was as halting as the first days had been speedy. I didn't know what to make of it. Miss Johnson was the model as before, but somehow I could not get her down on paper. For the first time since I'd begun the classes, I was relieved when Jacob Greer pointed to the clock.
That'll be all for today. Class dismissed. Oh, Alan, would you stay on a bit?
Yes, Professor Greer?
I noticed you're having a little trouble today. Some of those lines just not forceful enough.
I was aware of that, too. Something seems to be holding me up now.
May I have a look at what you've been doing?
Of course.
What? Is this all you've done today?
I'm afraid so. I tried. I couldn't even get the simplest action line.
What's that supposed to be?
Where?
In the corner of that page. A table set for 2 people at the... I know where that is. Yes, it is. That's the Chinese restaurant right here in town. I hope by next Tuesday you'll be taking a more serious approach to your work.
I am serious, Professor Greer. I just don't seem to be able to concentrate on what I see. What's in my mind's eye is so much clearer to me than what's in front of my real eye.
I can't think how you happen to know I just love Chinese food.
I just guessed, Miss Johnson. I wasn't doing anything particular this evening, so I took a chance you might be free.
It so happens this is my one night off in the week.
You mean you've got a regular job as well as modeling?
Well, I just model for extra money. I'm studying piano at the music school.
You're a musician?
Well, I hope to be. Every day but today and Sundays, I go to class from 4 to 7. Then I have a little supper at my place, and then back to the school where they let me practice as late as I like.
That's quite a schedule.
Is painting all you do, Mr. Harvey?
Right now it is, Miss Johnson. What's your first name?
Peggy.
Mine's Alan. It's a funny thing, but I don't associate the girl who stands up in class and poses, with you.
Well, I'm a little more formally dressed now. You're not married, are you?
I was a long time ago, but my wife didn't like my being married to an airline. I'm a pilot.
I don't believe it. I was married to a pilot, too. But it didn't take us long to discover it was a big mistake.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. Anyway, seeing Jacob is much better. No strings and outside the classroom. He's very amusing.
Jacob? You're dating Professor Greer?
Yes. Well, is that so crazy? There's not that much difference in our ages.
No, I'm not saying there is. It's just so, unexpected.
Oh, I see younger men, too. Like Arthur. Arthur Lewis, who sits next to you in class with the red beard.
Yeah, sure, I know.
He's awfully nice, too. Not nearly as possessive. In fact, in many ways, I think he's more mature than Jacob.
Say, aren't you getting hungry?
Oh, famished. I tell you what. You order from column A, and I'll order from column B.
Ladies and gentlemen, it seems our Miss Johnson isn't going to be with us today, and Arthur has volunteered to model for us, so we shan't be losing any time. You all ready, Arthur?
Ready when you are, J.G.
All right, please begin. Now, I want you all to loosely suggest the action of the pose before you actually sketch the form. Very good, Alan. You don't seem to have any block when it comes to drawing the male form.
It was only that one time, Professor Greer. I'm sure I could do Miss Johnson next time.
Keep drawing. Good. What are you doing now?
Putting in a face.
Well, that's not Arthur's face. It's more like mine. And, Alan, what's that you're drawing in the subject's right hand?
Right hand? I don't know.
I wish you'd stick to what's before you and not try to dramatize things as though you were doing an illustration for a mystery magazine. You've got me holding a pistol. Now I see a doorway and some other body crumpled up against it as though he'd just been shot.
Dr. Kingsley, I really appreciate you seeing me on a Sunday. What I want to say is, how can I say it? I don't think these life classes are doing me any good.
Well, why do you say that, Alan?
I went nearly crazy yesterday, Saturday. I tried to get out of the house, take a walk, but I found myself always coming back to my drawing board.
Well, I think that's a good sign.
But it's not. Nothing's changed. It's all as it was before. I'm seeing things that nobody else sees, only now I'm drawing them. Here, look at these, please. Some I've done in class and some at home.
Yes, I see what you mean.
Do you? Do you really? I'm terrified.
Oh, you draw very well, Alan.
It's what I draw. Here, this one, for instance.
Now look, you will work your way out of this. Don't worry. It's the mind's way of healing itself.
Doctor, I think you've got it all wrong. Here, look here. I drew this just this morning before I came to see you. I sat myself down, and this happened, like automatic writing.
Well, the drawings are for Jacob Greer to criticize. Now, what do you expect from me?
Just tell me what you see.
All right. It's a young man, about 25, I'd say, stretched out on a slab in the morgue. When were you at the morgue last?
Never. I've never been there.
Well, you've seen pictures.
I tell you I haven't.
But you must have. And you've forgotten. That happens to be the morgue attached to our hospital, exactly the way you've colored it.
You don't understand. You simply do not understand, do you, Doctor? I don't know what or how I draw.
My dear Alan, you must have been there. The detail, the glare of that green shade, the hexagonal tiles, that one broken tile near the door. Now face reality, Alan.
Forget it.
Do you know the young man you've drawn? That corpse with the red beard?
That's the horrible part. Yes, I know him. His name is Arthur Lewis. He's another student in my class. What shall I do?
When do you go again? To your art class?
Day after tomorrow.
All right. Now, right after class, come back here to my office and bring what you've drawn that day, and we will try again. Now, we'll sit down quietly, calmly, and talk about it. This sort of thing happens more often than not, Alan. We transfer and transpose people we know into the most unlikely situations. See, most of us do it in dreams, but you're doing it on paper.
You don't think it's any more than that, Dr. Kingsley?
Just bear in mind, Alan, you and I are mortal. We can do no more, see no more, know no more than our five senses tell us.
You mean there's no such thing as a sixth sense? Or a second sight?
Well, arithmetically, perhaps. But in fact, no.
Marvin. Well, come in. What are you doing here in the afternoon? You haven't stopped in to see me on a Sunday for I don't know how long.
Well, I hope this isn't a bad time for you, Jake.
No, not at all. Only if I'd known, Well, you see, I have a standing date with the young ladies Sunday evenings, but, well, that gives us an hour.
Yes, well, I'll get right to the point. That young pilot I sent over to you, Alan Harvey, well, he came to see me today, and he brought some sketches.
Oh, macabre, aren't they? But splendid. He has a flair.
As well, he's done it again. Well, at least I hope he hasn't.
What has he done?
It seems he's drawn one of your students, a chap with a red beard, lying on a slab in the morgue. And he showed me another he'd done of a girl, your life model, strangled.
He's also drawn me, holding a pistol. Claims he doesn't know what he's doing, has no control. I've put it down to wild imagination.
Well, I've also told him it was ridiculous to attach any significance to it.
Well, I certainly won't. The very young lady he strangled on paper, I've been seeing quite a lot of for almost 3 months now. I'm taking her to dinner tonight.
You're not serious.
Oh, I am, Marv. Very serious. I know she's been seeing a younger man, but I don't know who he is. But so what?
Jacob Greer, you...
I just may ask Peggy to marry me.
What? Oh, imagine keeping this from me.
I really didn't feel that serious about Peggy until, I don't know, it just grew on me.
Well, congratulations. I'd better go. It was only about Alan that I dropped in. You know, one of these days I'll figure out why he is so preoccupied with death. But I'll give it a thought, Jacob. I'll keep tabs on him.
So will I. I'm very interested in that young man. He has an enormous talent.
Alan, I feel so wicked, I can't begin to tell you.
Why, Peggy? Half of America goes to the movies on a Sunday night and has a soda afterwards.
Oh, it's not that I'm having a soda in a drugstore at 10 at night with a man I've only known for a few days. It's because I've stood up the two guys I usually date.
Who, Jacob?
And Arthur. I generally see Jacob for dinner Sunday nights. He gets me home about this time, and then half an hour later, Arthur stops by, and we go listen to music somewhere.
You're going to get yourself into trouble.
They enjoy themselves.
So why did you go out with me?
Because I love going to movies, and nobody ever asks me.
Well, you'd better beat it home. At least you can keep one of your 2 dates.
And that's our weather for tonight. Here now is the Midnight News. We have just received word of a triple tragedy on the North Side involving a young music student who had been doing part-time modeling, a young man who is an art student, and an art teacher. All are dead in what appears to be a double murder and suicide. For a report from the scene of the tragedy, here now is...
My Lord, I can't be hearing this. It can't be true.
Did Alan Harvey unconsciously set into motion these extraordinary events, or is he cursed with second sight? More often than not, when our second act curtain rings down on Mystery Theater, all of the clues are in, all the evidence presented, and you have an equal chance to solve the mystery. Not this time, for we appear to be dealing in an enigma wrapped in a secret, contained in a sealed book, written about a strange, uncharted land. Come back with your compass when I return shortly with Act 3. Until I began to host Mystery Theater, I thought of myself as pretty realistic. I believed what I saw and drew conclusions from known facts. Well, I've come quite a ways since then, and now I suspect there's an awful lot to be said for the unknown. What we thought was impossible yesterday is possible today. Couldn't the same be true of tomorrow? In our world, anything can happen and probably will. It's that same evening. Fearfully, Dr. Marvin Kingsley keeps listening to the news.
We repeat the first bulletin. Police are investigating 3 deaths on the North Side in the apartment of a part-time model found strangled. Also dead, apparently shot, is a male art student and a male art teacher. The woman has been identified as Peggy Johnson and the young man as Arthur Lewis. The police have not yet released the name of the art teacher other than to say...
It can't be. It can't be. Not him. Jacob, please. Be home. Please, please, answer the phone. Please. Please.
Today is Monday. I feel peculiar. I keep trying not to think of tomorrow in another life class. I sit at my table and look out the window. All the little houses. Ours is not a big town. All the capitals of the world I've flown to, Rome, Paris, Amsterdam, London, it all seems like another lifetime. I look down at my drawing pad. I've drawn a heavy-set man standing in a courtroom before a judge. I better call Dr. Kingsley right away.
Alan, I'm glad to hear your voice.
I've done another one of those mysterious drawings.
Have you sketched someone you know?
Not this time. Someone I've never seen before, I know that. A big hulk of a man standing in front of a judge. From the look I've drawn on the man's face and the look on the judge's, I'd say the judge was about to pass a sentence of death.
I'll tell you what you do, Alan. Why don't you walk over here? It'll take you no more than 3/4 of an hour, and by the time you get here, I will have cleared the decks. Bring that drawing of yours, Alan, and we'll talk.
I've lived in Greenfield all my life. Every time I'd come back from some round trips for my week off, I'd found the town pretty much the same. So why I got confused going across town to Dr. Kingsley's, I can't imagine. But I did. Turned up the wrong street, and before I knew it, I was lost. So I cut through an unfamiliar alley, and there it was. A fence about 9 feet high. I couldn't see over it. Over the gate was written J. Murty, Tombstones, Monuments. I opened the gate and looked inside. A yard full of gravestones.
Come on in, young fellow. Don't stand out there.
Oh, thanks. May I?
I'm glad to see you.
You're very expert chipping words into that stone.
Marble. I also do granite.
This is quite a large place you've got here. I bet you keep busy.
Well, the work gets kind of lonely. Not many people like to be around gravestones. Makes them think. Oh, let me introduce myself. Julian Merte.
Oh, yes, I saw your sign. I'm Alan Harvey.
You looking for someone?
I'll tell you the truth, I turned down the wrong street. Did you say your name was Merte?
Yes. Why? Do you know me from somewhere?
I don't know. Mr. Merte, have we ever met before?
I don't think so. Of course, I have seen a lot of people in my day. Why? You think we have met?
Well, everything about you, I don't know how to say it. It's uncanny. Hey, look at this, will you? A drawing I did today.
That is quite good. You did that?
This morning.
I've always admired the man who could sit down and draw straight off like that. Now, why did you want me to see this, Mr. Harvey?
The man in the drawing, it just came to me. He looks just like you, Mr. Merte.
Oh, that man there standing in front of the judge looks like me, you say? Why, so he does, Mr. Harvey. So he does.
Julian, where are you?
Here, my dear.
Oh, you have company.
Mr. Harvey, Mrs. Merte, my wife.
Oh, please.
Did you?
Mr. Harvey is an artist, Mary.
Julian, go along and wash your hands. It'll be time for supper shortly.
Supper? I had no idea it was that late. I must be going.
No, sir. Please don't go. I've got something to show you.
Or perhaps some other time. I'll come back.
No, it wouldn't take long. 5 minutes, I promise you. Just 5.
All right. Certainly.
I'll be right back.
Young man, I don't know who you are, but I advise you to leave right now. There's a storm coming up.
I should go. I'm late as it is. Someone's expecting me.
Then go. I'll explain to my husband.
But he seems so anxious to show me something.
It's only those gravestones. He's so proud of them, but they won't run away. I advise you, young man, for the sake of your well-being and health, leave now.
My health?
And your peace of mind. Does the name Julian Merte mean anything to you?
Julian Merte? Yes. Yes, I have heard that name. Arizona? No, California, the Rock Bridge. And the Wyoming stone faces. Is your husband that Julian Merte?
Yes.
Why, he's one of the great sculptors. What's he doing in this back alley making gravestones?
He fell out of fashion. It's as simple as that.
But
it broke his heart. He has never been the same.
You mean no one commissions his works anymore?
For 20 years, no one. And that isn't the worst of it. You had better go.
Well, can't you tell me why I should go?
Because sometimes he is not responsible. Not anymore.
All washed, all clean. Oh, say, we are in for a storm, Mary. I am taking Mr. Harvey into the studio.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'd better go right away.
What? In all this rain? You will get soaked. Come along. Follow me. Let's run for it.
This is quite a place. Never seen so many different kinds of gravestones.
These are mostly samples to show people what they can have to commemorate their loved ones. I like to keep my epitaphs light-hearted.
You do? On a gravestone?
What better place? After all, death is the ultimate joke, isn't it?
I never thought about it that way.
Well, you think about it. Think about it. This headstone here is the tallest I have done. It may be more to your liking. It's a sample which I completed only this morning. He flew high, he flew low. Now to heaven may his spirit go. Alan Harvey, Requiescat in pace.
That's my name.
This is what I wanted to show you.
My name?
Well, you must believe me, Mr. Harvey. Pure coincidence. I don't know where the name come from. Just entered my head.
But the date's under my name. The first one is exactly when I was born.
Really? A further coincidence.
And the date of death? Today.
Well, I was just making it topical.
You go right ahead, Mr. Harvey, and use the telephone. Supper will be on the table in a moment.
Oh, thank you. I had this appointment, and I just better call.
Hello?
Hello, Dr. Kingsley. This is Alan Harvey.
Oh, yes, I was wondering what happened to you.
I got lost, believe it or not, and then it started to storm, so I'm staying with some people I met.
I can't quite hear you, Alan. Can you speak louder?
No, I can't. This man insisted I stay for supper.
Are you all right, Alan? Alan?
I hear you. Yes, I'm all right. I'll try and come by later, Dr. Kingsley. Goodbye.
You know, I told you, Harvey, I don't get many visitors, especially people from the world of art. And that is why, after supper, I asked you back here in my studio. Mary, Mrs. Merte, funny thing, but she's not that interested in art.
I really ought to be on my way.
Nonsense. I wouldn't hear of it. You know, when it rains like this and I can't go outside and work on the new stones, I'll spend an evening sharpening my chisels. And you see, I've got my grinding stone here. I put my foot on the treadle, give it a twist, and there she goes. A lot of these chisels are due for sharpening. If you will look under that table where you are sitting, Mr. Harvey, you will find some drawing paper. There are pencils and charcoal in a little box down there. Go, help yourself. I know what it is like to have thoughts and ideas just screaming to be put on paper. It's compulsion.
I wonder what time it is.
Later than it was, but one always hopes not too late. I see you have begun to draw. Mr. Harvey, I cannot tell you what a pleasure it is to meet you at last.
You were right about compulsion. I wish I could leave.
Oh, I'm not keeping you.
No, not you, Mr. Murty. What I'm sketching. The pencil, it won't stop. My hand has to keep following it.
You have that problem, too.
It's a shame that all your great works are now only tombstones.
Great works. I was great once.
And now nothing but a letterer and a numberer in stone.
I wish you had not said that, Mr. Harvey. You are like all the rest. This is the sharpest I have ever honed a chisel. Do you know that, Mr. Harvey?
We're all failures. That is why we die.
I wish you would not keep saying that, Mr. Harvey.
I am still sketching at this table. And Julian Merte keeps turning his grindstone. All I can hear is the whirring and buzzing of the wheel and the drumming of the rain. The air is close in this studio. I'm rooted to this chair, to what I'm drawing. It's almost finished now. I can see out of the corner of my eye Julian Merte sharpening his chisels and watching me. He's staring at me. Staring.
They found the sketch Alan Harvey was making. It depicted the supreme moment of agony, the final gasp of a man in the last throes of life. The figure in his picture lay sprawled across a table where it had been drawn on a sheet of paper. On that sheet of paper was a sketch of still another man, identical. Then another picture within a picture. Each successive figure had been stabbed in the back with a long-bladed chisel embedded to the hilt. Killed exactly the way they found Alan Harvey himself. I'll return in a moment. We accept certain rules of existence on our planet. The pull of gravity, the rising sun and moon, that rain is wet and snow is cold. We feel wind, which we cannot see. You accept the sound of my voice, although you know I'm speaking from miles away. We accept from experience and habit. But there are other facts of life and death for which we have no explanation. Yet, can we disregard them? They, too, must be faced, and perhaps you, too, will experience them. All you need is a little second sight. Our cast included Michael Tolan, Joan Shea, Robert Dryden, and Earl Hammond. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. What if each one of us were absolutely isolated from everyone else, doomed to travel the earth alone from birth to death, destined never to see another face, touch another hand, hear another voice, denied the least contact with another of our own kind? Unthinkable, isn't it? For each one of us, there has to be a meeting in some place at some time, else we should all go mad. Our mystery drama, Meeting by Chance, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elspeth Eric and stars Mandel Kramer and Marion Seldes. Some meetings are casual, some meetings are unavoidable. Some are planned, and others are artfully contrived. Some occur in the natural course of ordinary living, and others come about purely and simply by accident. It is one of these incidental meetings that concerns us here.
Damn it, I can't see a thing. Wow, that sounded close. Dumb windshield wipers are worse than nothing. Just slosh the rain from one side to the other. I bet she forgot to get new blades. Simple thing like that, and she forgets. I told her 12 times, get new blades. Where am I, anyway? Did I get off the road somewhere? That fork a ways back. Did I take the left one instead of the right? I swear I don't know. I can't see a thing. Boy, that was even closer. Oh, wouldn't it be swell to get hit by lightning out here in the middle of nowhere? Come on, I can't be nowhere. I must be somewhere near home. Only I can't see. Damn rain makes it impossible to see. Maybe I should get out and take a look around. Yeah. Oh, cow. What a soaker. Ow. Too close for comfort, like they say. Is this a driveway? Looks like a driveway, sort of, under all this water. A mailbox? Yeah. No name, though. No name that I can make out, anyway. Driveway and a mailbox adds up to a house. That figures at the other end of the driveway there must be a house. People. Gotta get a roof over my head till this downpour stops. It's dangerous out here. Heck of a driveway. Nobody's used it much the way the trees hang over it. It stands to reason, though, there's a house at the other end. Some kind of a house, any kind of a... Ah, sure, there it is, sure. I knew there'd be a house. There had to be. Right in the nick of time. Now, where's the doorbell? No doorbell?
Hey, in there, do you mind? Please? Somebody mind opening the door? It's wet out here in case anybody cares. Come on.
It could be anybody. It's certainly not the owner. The owner would have a key. It could be a tramp of some kind. You can't be too careful these days. Thank goodness I locked that door. There's no way anybody could get in. All the windows are locked, and the back door, too. I don't care who it is. He's not going to get in. It must be a man, because the way he pounds on the door. He could be a thief, or a lunatic, or a rapist. There's plenty of those around. I think he's gone away. Gave up finally. Went away. Well, that's something. Oh, God. Help! Help, somebody! Help! Stay out of here, you just stay out of here. Don't you come in here.
What's the matter with you?
What do you mean breaking in like this? I'll call the police.
Did you hear me knock on the door?
I heard you.
Why don't you open it?
Why should I?
Don't you ever open the door?
No, not just to anybody.
Well, look, I'm sorry I broke your window.
It's not my window. This isn't my house.
Well, how'd you get in here, then? Somebody let you in?
The front door was open.
Oh? And then you locked it?
Well, I was afraid not to.
Look, I'll pay for the window. I can leave some money. Here, $5 ought to cover it.
My car stopped all of a sudden, and see, I went through a big puddle, and it just stopped.
Oh, the timer got wet.
Oh, well, I don't know anything about automobiles. What was that?
What was what?
I heard something.
I didn't hear anything.
Sounded like a cat.
Probably a cat in the house.
Well, I guess there must be. What am I supposed to do? Stuck here with this stranger. I hope he doesn't get any funny ideas. He looks all right, but you can't go by appearances. You read about a murderer or a rapist in the newspaper, and then they show you a picture of him, and he looks just like anybody else.
Don't care much for cats myself.
They're very decorative, people say.
I like dogs, all right. Dogs are okay.
Yes. Dogs are nice.
Not a bad-looking dame. Not what you'd call good-looking either. Not my type at all. Dull. Miss Dull in person. Dull from Dullsville. Dressed dull, too. I bet she made that little number herself. Loving hands at home.
I wonder who lives here.
No idea.
whoever it is isn't very tidy.
Yeah, it is kind of messy.
I hate a messy place.
Yeah. Do you live near here?
South Glenville.
That's so. I live in Glenville Heights.
Do you really?
Yeah, that new development.
Is it nice?
It's all right.
I don't think he's going to try anything funny. I think he's safe. But I hope the storm lets up soon. I mean, I'm running out of things to talk about. I don't know anybody in Glenville Heights. And I think that new development is horrible. Ugly as sin. Did you hear that?
Hear what?
The cat.
Oh, yeah.
Wonder where it is.
The kitchen, probably.
Oh, it sounds hungry.
Yeah, speaking of hungry, I haven't had any lunch.
Neither have I, now that you mention it.
What do you say we see if there's any food in the house?
Oh. Well, if you think it's all right.
Well, we can leave a couple of dollars.
All right.
Anyway, it's something to do. Eat a sandwich. Maybe there's some beer. Pass a little time. Oh, boy, what a way to spend an afternoon holed up in some creepy old house with some dull woman doesn't even know how to conduct a conversation. Yeah, what the heck, it's not her fault. What do we got in common, anyway?
Well, let's see what's in this fridge. Oh, there's some milk. That's something.
Any beer in there?
No, I don't see any. Would you care for a glass of milk?
I guess it'll have to do.
There's a little jar of shrimps.
No, thanks.
Well, then, we'll just have milk.
Great. Swell.
Well, it's better than nothing.
Be grateful for small favors, I always say.
Huh? There we are.
You want to go back in the living room?
No place to sit down here.
Lead the way.
It's really infuriating. I've got so much to do at home. All that transplanting. Well, I just couldn't do that in the rain anyway, but... Well, I could be sorting the linen instead of being stuck here with this Glenville Heights person.
You find it cold in here?
A little.
Kind of damp, don't you think?
Yes, it is damp.
I have this bursitis in my left arm, and dampness always makes it worse.
There's a fireplace.
You think I ought to make a fire?
Would they mind?
Who?
The people who live here.
I don't see why they'd mind.
I'm always afraid of catching cold. Once I catch a cold, I can't get rid of it. It just hangs on and hangs on for weeks, it seems like.
Now, there's a fascinating piece of information for you. She gets colds that last for weeks. What do you know? Boy, I wish I was home. The golf clubs need cleaning and polishing. Must be an ideal day for it. Instead, I'm marooned here with... she's all right. Stop picking on her. You're no shining light yourself.
There doesn't seem to be any kindling, does there?
Well, if you roll the paper up tight enough...
Those logs look kind of green.
I'm pretty good at making fires.
It really is damp in here, and if you've got bursitis, we better...
Wait till I get the fire going. It'll dry out.
I don't think it's going to work.
Give it a minute.
It's gone out.
Yeah.
You want me to try?
You think you can do better?
I guess not. Manly pride. They're all alike. Oh, they can all make fires and hang pictures and fix cars, only when it comes right down to doing it, they can't. So we'll just sit here and freeze and catch our deaths.
I wonder what time it is.
I don't have a watch. I took mine to be repaired. I keep forgetting to pick it up.
Can't tell the time of day by looking outside. Black as pitch out there.
It most certainly is. Pitch black.
Yeah, black as pitch black. Where do we go from here? Looks like a long, dreary afternoon, all right. If we had a deck of cards, but she probably doesn't play cards.
You lived in Glenville Heights long?
A little over a year.
I see.
I'm in real estate.
Oh, really?
Things are kind of slow right now.
I can imagine.
Maybe they'll pick up, though.
My husband's a lawyer.
Don't say.
Yes, he's a lawyer. Well, there goes that cat again. Wonder where it is.
As long as it stays out of here, I don't much care.
But it sounds hungry.
Well, I think I'm allergic to cats.
I suppose it's waiting for its owners to come home and feed it.
Yeah, they're probably stuck somewhere, same as we are.
Probably.
I wonder if they got a TV set around here someplace.
I hope that cat isn't trapped somewhere.
Did you see a TV?
I'm going to go look for that cat.
Or a radio? A little music might help. There's nothing. Absolutely nothing. I wonder what these people do for amusement. What's the matter?
Come here, quick.
What is it?
Come here. I found the cat.
Every meeting is a touching. Sometimes the touch is so light that it is scarcely felt. Sometimes the touch ignites something. Something as mild as distaste, perhaps. Or something as strong as hatred. At times, the touch can kindle interest. Sometimes attraction. Sometimes even love. I'll return shortly with Act 2. Two people, a man and a woman, have sought refuge from a violent storm in a strange house. Two people with very little to say to each other. A strange house, rather unkempt, seemingly inhabited by a solitary cat, heard but as yet not seen by either of the intruders. As our last act ended, however, we heard...
What's the matter?
Come here. Quick.
What is it?
Come here. I found the cat.
Where? Where is it?
Up there. At the head of the stairs. See? Looking down at her.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Well, what else could it be?
It looks like a little white cloud.
It's the cat. I'm sure of it. See? There. It's hungry. I'm going to go and get it some milk. I think we left some.
You want me to come with you?
You stay here. Unless you're afraid to.
I'm not afraid. What's there to be afraid of?
And if there isn't any milk left, I'm going to open that jar of shrimps.
Stuck here with a lady who's cat crazy. Women and cats, they go together. Cat, what's with you? You're the biggest cat I ever saw. Big and white. White as a... whiter than anything. Pure white. All white. You even got white eyes. Yeah. White eyes. Is that possible? A thing like that? White eyes?
There wasn't any milk left, so I just brought this shrimp. I'll put the dish here, at the foot of the stairs. And if it's really hungry, it'll come down and get it.
Hey, doesn't it strike you as kind of peculiar, a house that's only got cat food in it?
Well, now that you mention it...
I mean, what if we hadn't showed up here? Oh, would that cat have gone to the refrigerator and fed herself, or what?
Well, I hardly think... Why doesn't it come down? Get the shrimp.
Scared of us, maybe?
Let's move back a little.
Oh, we could just leave it.
Somehow... For some reason, I don't want to do that. I know. I'll put the dish halfway up the stairs. How would that be?
What do I know about feeding cats?
What would you know about anything? Crass, stupid, terrible man. The second the rain stops, I'm going to get out of this house. Oh, I hope my car starts. If it doesn't, I suppose I'll have to ask him to drive me home. Oh, well, it can't be helped. It's an emergency. And maybe that'll do it.
Cat's still standing there, just looking.
Just wait. Cats love shrimp.
Maybe not this one. Did you notice this one has white eyes?
Oh, cats don't have white eyes. No cat has white eyes.
This one does.
Pale blue, maybe, not white.
He's still standing there.
I wonder why she doesn't just... Well, she must smell it.
Let's leave him.
What makes you think she's a male cat?
What makes you think he's a female cat?
I think she wants the shrimp brought upstairs to her.
Don't you think you've done enough?
No, I don't.
Wait till my wife. Here's how I spent the afternoon. She won't believe it. I broke into a spooky old house to get out of the rain, and here's this simple-minded woman, and she and I spent the whole time trying to get a big white cat to eat some shrimp. That's what I did all afternoon, sweetie. Sue me, but that's what I did.
Would you mind coming up here for a minute?
What for?
Just come upstairs for a minute, will you?
Oh, I don't get the point. Is there something wrong?
Please, come up here.
I've never done this much for a cat in my life. Actually, I've never had anything to do with a cat before. Now, what is it? What's up?
Come with me.
Where? Where's the cat?
In the bedroom.
Well, you think it's okay to go in there?
I know what you're thinking. It's not nice to make free with other people's houses.
Well, it's kind of pushy, don't you think?
Yes, I do think so, but... There's the cat.
Ah, she did want to eat the shrimp up here.
When I came upstairs, she led me right into this room. She waited for me to open the door. So I did, and I went in. And she started to purr. And I put the dish down by the window, and she started eating right away, purring all the time.
Well, look, I guess we've done our duty by the cat, so...
Don't go. Wait a minute. I want you to look at something.
What?
Look out the window.
Okay. Any window?
Any window. What do you see?
Wow. That's beautiful.
Have you ever seen such a garden?
No. I never have.
Such flowering trees.
Those little winding paths. I wonder where they go to.
It isn't raining.
That's right. There's no rain.
The thunder stopped.
But just a few seconds ago. Downstairs. I heard it. I know I heard it.
Look out there. The grass isn't wet. The flowers are all standing up straight. The paths are dry.
Well, now, look, that's not possible. I mean, there couldn't have been a terrific storm in one part of the house and sunlight and roses and all those beautiful things in another part. That's just not possible.
I know it isn't possible. It's unbelievable.
But it's true.
I have this funny feeling. I think it has something to do with the cat.
You mean the cat is some kind of I don't know, a magician or something? You mean some kind of a magician in disguise, maybe?
Well, maybe not a magician, but a spirit, something unearthly. Don't laugh.
I won't laugh.
Something intangible, immaterial, captured in a cat's body. Something saintly. Promise not to laugh.
I don't feel a bit like laughing.
And whatever it is, it's not real. But it is real. The storm, the rain, the thunder, the lightning, it all stopped as soon as we came upstairs. You can't deny that.
Look at the cat. She asleep?
Don't think so.
Didn't I tell you she has white eyes?
She doesn't have white eyes. She's blind.
Blind?
Beautiful. And blind.
Is that why she wouldn't come downstairs?
Maybe. And also, she doesn't have any claws. See, if she had claws, she'd be able to feel her way down.
So I guess she stays up here all the time.
Yeah. Why wouldn't she?
Yeah. I would. If I could be lucky enough to live in this room, I'd never leave.
What makes it so wonderful, do you think?
I don't know. It's so different from the rooms downstairs.
So clean, so restful.
But so exciting. Don't you think so?
Yes, restful and exciting. That's about it. What it is... Well, it's open. It's greed.
You feel as though anything could happen here.
As though you could make anything happen.
But everything is so nice the way it is. Why bother?
Oh, what a perfect way to feel.
Everybody could feel this way. They wouldn't drink, or they wouldn't take dope, or they wouldn't start wars.
Or be mean or spiteful to anybody.
It just seems so easy here.
I never want to leave. Never.
You know you're very attractive.
Me? Attractive?
Very.
Oh, I'm just a middle-aged suburban housewife.
You're an attractive woman. Go look at yourself in that mirror.
Are you serious?
Go on.
Well, if you... Oh, it seems so silly, but if you really... I look... It's not what I expected at all. I mean, it's me, all right, but it's not what I'm used to.
There's a glow on your face. It looks real.
I'm not going to pretend I don't see it, too.
No, don't pretend, because that's part of the magic here in this room.
I think you look different, too. Come on, look at yourself.
If you say so.
Oh, I wish you would.
I'm different.
Somehow younger.
It's true.
And you look vulnerable.
Me? Vulnerable?
As though you could be hurt.
I never thought of myself that way. Not for a long time.
But now you do.
I don't want to be hurt. I think it's terrible to be hurt. Only it's worse to be somebody who can't be hurt.
I know just what you mean.
You can get over being hurt, I guess. It might take a long time, but you could get over it. But to be... what's the word? Invulnerable?
Yes.
Well, that's to be dead, really. Walking around and talking, but really dead. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, oh yes, I do.
Something I have to get used to.
Do you know what I want to do? I don't know why. I want to do it, though.
What? What do you want to do?
I want to take my shoes off. They're still wet.
Yeah, mine too.
I want to go and lie down on that big bed.
Go ahead. Do it.
I want to lie down and dream.
What about?
Oh. Things. About love and kindness and what lies in back of the stars. And how the sun warms everything. And how it feels to stretch out and feel good.
Say, the bed hasn't been made up. Did you know that?
Really? That's strange in this neat, tidy room. Why wouldn't they straighten the bed?
I don't know.
Oh, linen sheets. Been a long time since I've seen linen sheets.
Look, I don't think you ought to disturb anything. I don't know why I think that. I just feel...
I know what you mean. I won't touch a thing. I'll just lie down on the bed the way it is.
Hey.
Can't I...
She doesn't want you to lie down on the bed.
She's... what, protecting it or...
How did she know what you were going to do? She's blind. She couldn't have seen you.
It must be true. She is a spirit, a specter.
She ate the shrimp like a real live cat.
Then there's a spirit lodged in her. I don't know. Don't ask me how, why, but there's something here we don't understand.
There's plenty I don't understand. Plenty. Like the way I feel about you.
Be careful. Be careful of what you say.
No, I don't want to be careful anymore. That's what this room has done to me. Or this cat or whatever. I love you.
I was afraid you'd say that.
Why were you afraid? That's such a terrible thing to say?
No. But now I have to say something to you.
Well, please. Say it.
I love you.
Well, is that so awful?
But that's not what I felt about you before downstairs. Down there I thought you were crude and insensitive. I didn't like you at all.
Down there I thought you were silly and dull, and I hated the idea of spending an afternoon with you.
What happened? What happened? What changed?
What was that noise?
A door.
It was a door that opened and shut.
It's a door downstairs.
Front door, I'll bet.
Lizzie? I'm home, Lizzie.
It's the owner. The owner of the house.
He came home.
Lizzie, girl. You all right?
What do we do now?
I don't know.
You okay, Lizzie?
He'll be coming up here. I just know it. He'll be coming up here.
This is what a meeting can do. Even a meeting by chance. Change attitudes, change feelings, perhaps even lives. A whole set of circumstances which had seemed so stable, so permanent, so unalterable, can shift and become something else for no other reason than two people have met and touched. We'll be back soon with Act 3. Quite fortuitously, two people have met in a house strange to them both, driven there to escape from a riotous rainstorm. Neither is to the other an ideal choice for such enforced companionship, until they followed the plaintive mewings of a large white blind cat to the second story of the house, into a beautiful bedroom from whose windows they could see an exquisite garden bathed in sunshine. Tranquility seemed to fill the room, and to their intense surprise, new feelings began to stir in their hearts.
I have to say it. I love you.
Is that such an awful thing to say? Because I love you.
Downstairs, I thought you were silly and dull.
I found you crude and insensitive. I didn't like you at all.
What happened? What changed us?
A door just opened downstairs.
Opened and shut. The front door, I bet.
Lizzie. I'm home, Lizzie.
It's the owner of the house.
The owner of the cat.
Lizzie, girl. You all right?
Oh, what do we do now? He'll be coming up here. He is coming up here.
But we can't hide. There's no place.
I don't want him to find us here. He'll be angry. He'll throw us out.
Oh, you don't want to leave?
Not when we've just found whatever it is we've just found.
I forgot your food, my girl. I clean forgot. You must be hungry. I'll fetch it for you.
He's going into the kitchen.
What did you mean when you said what we found out, whatever it is?
I don't know. It's just this feeling, this strange new feeling.
You said you loved me.
I know I did, and you said you loved me.
Did you mean it?
Did you?
I think I did. Didn't you?
I think so. But maybe...
Maybe what?
Maybe I just felt what love was like. Does that make any sense to you?
No shrimp this time, but I've got sardines for you. I'm late, Lizzie, because of the storm. It's a terrible storm.
What will he do to us? Will he call the police?
So, my little sweetheart. Come. Well, good afternoon, madam. Sir?
Oh, I hope you'll forgive us.
We can explain how this happened. Well, I imagine it was the storm.
Yes, it was. The storm. My car went over a huge puddle down the roadways, and it simply stopped. There was thunder and lightning, and...
There certainly was.
I stopped my car just outside your house because I couldn't see a thing. The windshield wipers might as well not have been working at all for all the good they did.
You, weren't in the same car, both of you?
Well, no, actually, we just met here.
A little while ago. I was here first. Your front door was open. I'm afraid I just walked in.
How did you happen to get up here?
It was the cat.
Lizzie?
Was that her name?
It's what I call her.
Well, she kept mewing, and we didn't know where she was. She sounded hungry.
Well, I was late getting here.
I'm afraid we drank most of the milk in the refrigerator. So then we put that shrimp in a dish, and we left it at the foot of the stairs.
But she wouldn't come down.
And then we put it halfway up the stairs, and that didn't work either.
Lizzie's blind.
Yes, we found that out later, after I took the shrimp upstairs. She sort of led me to the bedroom.
And this is where she lives.
Nobody could blame her for that. I'd like to live here myself.
Oh?
I mean, downstairs, there was this terrible storm, wind and rain.
Terrible thunder and lightning.
But up here...
Everything's different up here. If you look out the window...
I've looked out the window.
Well, then you know. It's all sunlight and flowers and peaceful.
It's just sort of benign, if you know what I mean. It's gentle-like.
I do know.
And the mirrors? If you look in the mirrors in this room, you look different somehow.
Younger.
Prettier.
Not so worried and not so harassed. You know what I mean?
Sure, I know.
But why should that be?
Well, it's kind of a long story.
Well, we'd love to hear it if you don't mind telling it.
I'm not sure you'll believe it. I'm not sure I believe it. Except that it's so.
Oh, please, tell us.
Well, this house used to belong to a couple. They bought it when they got married, almost 100 years ago. They were very happy here. They loved the house, and they loved each other. That's a good beginning for happiness, wouldn't you say? But then they became even happier when a daughter was born to them. Elizabeth, they named her. Beautiful girl, sweet girl. But she was blind.
Blind?
Born blind. Blind from birth.
Oh, terribly sad.
Oh, it's not as sad as you might think. There was so much love. The love of her parents for each other and their love for her. No, it wasn't sad. Unfortunate, maybe, but not really sad. Love can drive out sadness, provided there's enough of it.
I'm starting to think that that's true.
What happened to all of them?
Well, Elizabeth died.
Oh, no.
And her parents' hearts were broken.
Of course.
How old was she when she died?
Getting on for 30. Her father and mother went in the mourning, not just for the year that's customary, but for year after year after year. I knew them well, and I saw them every day, and I worried about them. They were getting older. They were getting feebler. They were getting sadder. They were losing themselves in their grief. And I couldn't stand to see it. So one day, I brought them a cat.
Lizzie?
I rescued her from a laboratory where they'd put out her eye.
Oh, why did they do that?
Who knows, some experiment they were conducting to prove something or other.
Oh.
And after they blinded her, they were going to kill her. But I said, don't do that. Give her to me. And they did.
And you brought her here? To this house for the old people?
They took to her right away. Partly because she was blind, I guess, like their daughter.
And so at least they had something to love.
They had something to share their love with.
How long ago was this? How long ago did they take the cat to live with them?
24 years ago.
She's that old? The cat is that old?
Probably older.
I didn't know cats ever lived that long.
Well, it's my idea she'll live to be 30.
You mean as long as Elizabeth lived?
That's what I mean.
You don't mean... I mean, you can't mean that the girl's spirit has come back in a cat's body.
Why not?
Well, because...
Because why?
Well, such things aren't possible.
Why not?
Well, they're not real.
The old people believe they were real. I believe they're real. So they're real. Maybe not for other people, but other people don't know everything that went on in this house. And I do.
But how does it happen that you know so much about it?
Well, I was in love with Elizabeth. I was going to marry her. So I know.
Of course. Would you tell us one more thing?
Whatever you want to know.
Why does the cat live upstairs?
Because the old people moved upstairs after I brought them the cat. They lived in this room. I ran their errands. I brought them their food, whatever they needed. And after they died, the cat went on living here. I went on dropping in twice a day to feed her, make sure she's all right. It's the least I can do, don't you think?
There's one more thing I'd like to know, if you don't mind our being so curious.
I don't mind.
The bed. It's not made up. And the rest of the room is so beautiful and so neat and tidy. Why isn't the bed made up?
The old people died in that bed. They died there with their arms around each other. And both of them were smiling. And the cat was watching them from the foot of the bed.
When I wanted to lie down, just to take a little rest, the cat wouldn't let me.
She wants to keep it the way it was for the time when the old people come back. Can't blame her, can you?
You mean she's really Elizabeth? Elizabeth reincarnated?
I'm not saying she is. I'm saying she could be.
Is that why you call her Lizzie? Her name is really Elizabeth?
Her name isn't Elizabeth. Oh, the old people called her Elysium.
That's a strange name.
Why'd they call her that?
Well, Elysium is the dwelling place of happy souls after death. That's what they tried to make out of this room, a happy place for their dead child to live. And while they did that, they made a happy place for themselves. It couldn't help but be that way.
I don't suppose it's possible for anybody to buy this place.
No, it belongs to the cat.
You mean it?
It's in the will.
Well, after the cat dies?
It comes to me, but she isn't going to die for a long time.
Tell me one more thing. Will you, if it isn't too painful? How did Elizabeth die?
What didn't I tell you? She broke her neck. She fell downstairs and broke her neck.
Oh, well, that's why the cat has no claws, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I think the worst of the storm must be over by now. Let's go downstairs, shall we?
I'll drive you home. I don't think your car's dried out yet.
All right.
Take a couple hours of sunshine before it'll start.
Remember all that sunshine back in that upstairs room?
You can't take it with you.
No, you can't.
You haven't told me where you live.
Oh, it's straight along this road. It's not far. I'll tell you when.
We've never introduced ourselves. Do you realize that?
I don't think we should.
You may be right.
We said some pretty impetuous things to each other up there in that room.
I know we did.
Things about love and all that.
Seems so natural up there to say those things.
But it isn't here.
I wonder why. We're the same people.
Are we?
Of course we are.
Then why don't we feel the same?
I wouldn't know.
I think that in that upstairs room, we were different because we were using a different part of ourselves. The upper part, you might say.
The better part?
Yes. The part that reaches out and touches and doesn't hold back and protect itself all the time.
What happens to that part?
It gets smothered somehow. Strangled.
It gets killed.
Why don't you let me off at the corner?
I can take you to your
No, I
house.
really rather you wouldn't.
Better to leave things the way they are.
I think so. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
For what?
I don't know.
I should thank you.
For what?
I don't know.
Anyway, I'll never forget you. I don't think I will.
I'll never forget you. At least I hope I won't.
Is there a room someplace where the heart expands and accepts and is generous? Where we cease to be petty and irritable and sullen? Where we stop being against and start being for? Where we can relax and enjoy and stop resenting and envying? Every heart longs for such a room. And for fleeting moments, each heart finds it. Does it really exist? I don't know. Do you? I'll be back shortly. Suppose such a room does exist. How do we find and keep it? Does it have an address? Does anyone live there all the time? Even a cat? A cat who is really a ghost waiting for other ghosts? Or is the room within the human heart? Is it a room that has been closed off, locked, shuttered? Is it possible we can open the room, unlock its door, and fling wide its shutters? If it is possible, then only love can do it. Of that much I'm sure. Our cast included Marion Seldes, Mandel Kramer, and Bobby Reddick. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. And perhaps you've come to look upon me as the master of the macabre, your escort into the eerie. And in all honesty, I can say that I am happy you have this opinion of me. I'll admit to an affinity for tales of the supernatural, and even a sneaking fondness for ghosts. Some ghosts, that is. I cannot say that I have liked every ghost I have met, because in my experience, there can be some very unpleasant ghosts, like this one. Our mystery drama, Voices of Death, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Murray Burnett and stars Mandel Kramer and Ralph Bell. There are many stories about faceless voices that speak to lonely people. Voices that come from nowhere, that threaten, cajole, terrify, or madden the mortals who hear them. Our story is about such a voice, but it is a voice that has a face, the face of a dead man. Most of us know what to expect when we turn on a television set. But the last thing Jason Phillips expected was to have the face of a dead man appear on his television tube.
How did the face of Peter Truro get on my TV screen? Peter, I'm sure if you were alive, you'd understand why yours is the last face I'd want to look at. So forgive me for switching stations. What is this, Peter again? I'll try another channel. On every channel? Peter Truro? That's ridiculous. And no sound. What's wrong with the sound?
Nothing, Jason. What? This isn't the normal way to return.
Well, I'm seeing things. And hearing them. Peter Truro is dead and buried. He couldn't be talking to me from my TV screen. Everything happened so suddenly with Peter and Claire and that lousy Linville. Put the TV back on.
Relax, Jason. I'm not a delusion. I realize that my talking to you this way must be quite a shock, but you're really seeing and talking with Peter Truro.
Oh, sure. Peter Truro, who's been dead and cremated for 10 days.
The body, yes, Jason, but nothing else. Now, just as soon as we complete our business, you'll be rid of me. And you'll be happy.
You keep talking about business. What kind of business can we have?
You're going to do a little job for me, Jason. You're going to kill my wife. There's absolutely no point in your turning off the television, Jason.
You're a fraud, Peter. I don't know how you got into my set, but you're a fraud.
Come on now. You're not going to claim that you're still upset because, after all, I am a ghost?
Well, of course. It's a perfectly natural occurrence, isn't it? Everyone who watches television sooner or later finds himself face to face and talking with a ghost every time he turns on his set.
Well, what you're really telling me is that you're afraid I'm not a ghost at all, but a figment of your imagination.
And you find that strange. You don't think that that's enough to upset me?
Of course it is, Jason. Like Hamlet, you're wondering about your brain.
Yes, I am.
Well, I can take that worry off your shoulders.
How?
Suppose Claire comes to see you.
Claire? What would she want?
An attack of conscience. Guilt. Whatever you may want to call it. But, Jason, I will make Claire visit you. And then we will talk again.
What in the world am I doing here anyway? Can you tell me, Jason?
Putting on a marvelous act as usual, Claire.
Why do I feel cold? Why do I have this feeling that Peter's watching?
Which question would you like me to answer?
Do you believe in ghosts?
Of course not.
You sound so sure. So very.
And you're not. I remember how you used to make fun of the whole spiritual scene.
I said it was impossible.
Claire, why this discussion? What made you phone me and come here to talk about...
I've been having dreams.
Dreams? Well, I'm no psychiatrist.
Yes, dreams about Peter. He keeps telling me to come to you and explain about... Well, you know, how you lost the part in the play, and... I'm not making very much sense, am I?
No, you're not. I don't know why you came here, but I know damn well you'd better leave.
Are you convinced, Jason? Do you believe now that I'm a ghost? Well, you heard Claire. You know I sent her to you.
So she says.
I don't know whether it was smart to throw her out so abruptly. She may become suspicious.
About what?
About your wanting to kill her.
You're out of your mind. You're crazy.
Remember how you felt when Claire told you that she was replacing you in the part that I had picked for you in Cries of Dissent? Remember how you raged because you knew that Claire was throwing you out, not because of your lack of ability, but because she wanted the part for her lover, Edward Linville. You even threatened to kill her.
I don't have to listen to any more of this. Right now, I could cheerfully have murdered you if you'd been alive. Hello.
Jason, this is Claire. Darling, I do think you owe me some sort of explanation for almost throwing me out of your place a while ago.
Claire, my love, the only thing I owe you is a punch in the mouth, and if you were a man, I'd be happy to give it to you.
Are you going to be with us long, Mr. Phillips?
Well, that depends.
You'll find all sports and great weather at the Clarkstown Inn. You will be in 4:45. If there's anything you want, don't hesitate to ask.
Now, before I call Alida, I think I'd better see if Peter is still with me.
Here I am, Jason. You didn't think you could run away from me, did you?
I wasn't sure, but I was hoping.
I'm curious about one thing. Why did you pick this God-forsaken little town as a place of refuge?
Because I happen to have been born right here in Clarkstown.
Ah. Then this is an attempt to recapture the safety of your childhood. That's very touching, Jason.
I've had enough of you tonight, Peter. Time for me to do what I came here for in the first place. Talk to an old friend.
Hello?
Alida, what a delight to hear your voice after all these years.
And it is a pleasure to hear yours, Jason.
Oh, Alida, you're too much. After all these years, you hear me say your name and immediately you know my voice.
It is a distinctive voice, Jason. Are you calling from New York?
No, I'm at the inn right here in Clarkstown. Matter of fact, I came here just to see you.
How nice. But, Jason, there's been a lot of years since we last spoke. And right now it's almost past my bedtime. How about breakfast with me tomorrow? More coffee, Jason?
No, thanks, Alida. Alida, I'm being haunted. I think I'm going crazy. I don't know where to turn or what to do. That's why I came to see you. Do you think you can help me?
If you'll calm down, maybe.
Well, you just don't know what it's like.
And I can't find out unless you tell me. Do you know this ghost?
Of course. It's the famous Broadway producer, Peter Truro.
I read about his death. It was only a short time ago.
That's right. And he's been after me for the past 2 weeks.
How does this haunting manifest itself?
Through television. Every time I turn on the TV set, it's Peter's face that appears. I can't get any other programs, just Peter Truro.
What does he say to you?
Well, that's what's got me scared. He's asking me to kill his wife. It frightened you, Alita. Why?
Well, Jason, as I remember you, when you were a boy, you were not particularly psychic or even sympathetic to psychic phenomena.
That's right.
In order to help you, I must find out why the ghost of Peter Truro chose you as his instrument in the first place.
Can you?
I can try. But not this morning. Can you come back tonight for another seance? Like the one you remembered as a boy?
That's why I came. I'll be here, Alita.
I can't promise anything will come out of this. I can't even promise to make contact. But if I do, you will have to keep absolutely quiet. Understand?
Yes, I do.
All right. Now, hold my hands. Tighter. Yes, that's it. The light is too bright. It hurts my eyes. I can't see. Better, yes. That's better. Now, I see you quite clearly.
Jason, why did you do this? Just when we two were getting along so well, you went and brought this stranger in.
Well, Peter,
Jason, you must keep quiet. You promised.
Let him talk for himself. We have some wonderful chats when we're alone.
Jason is a friend of mine. He has asked my help. Why did you choose him to torment?
It is I who am in torment. You must know that. It is I who cannot rest until a vow has been kept.
What vow?
The marriage vow.
Has it not been kept? Did you not plight love till death do us part?
No. Our vow was to remain faithful and loving forever. We changed the marriage ceremony, and the vow has not been kept. And I seek revenge. I will have revenge. I will.
Alita, are you all right?
Yes. Yes. I will be fine. Just give me a moment.
You sure you're going to be all right?
Yes, I am sure about me. But I am worried about you, Jason. I am not sure about you.
Ghosts are very much like UFOs. People say they don't exist. But somehow the idea of ghosts and UFOs just won't go away. The question of whether ghosts can have anything to do with dreams is one that has occupied the thoughts of psychics since people first began to talk about ghosts. Jason Phillips was haunted by a ghost, not in his dreams, but one who took over his TV set. Jason is seeking help, not from an analyst, but from an old and respected medium whom he had known since childhood.
All right, Alita. I don't mean to start a discussion. All I want to know is how do I get rid of the ghost of Peter Truro?
I wish I could tell you.
You mean I can't get any help? I'll have to spend the rest of my life listening to Peter insisting that I kill Claire for him?
You can turn off your television, can't you?
Oh, great. I'll never look at a TV set again. Is that your solution?
How deeply was Peter devoted to his wife?
What kind of question is that?
A very important question.
Well, there was a jealousy act that Peter was putting on.
What made you think it was, as you put it, an act?
Because nobody could have been that jealous.
What about the relationship? Was it a good one?
I don't know. I never stopped to think about it. There was the difference in age. I mean, Peter was some 18 years older than Claire, and he was Broadway's outstanding producer, and she was an actress.
Are you trying to say that Claire married Truro to advance her career? That she didn't love him?
Well, there was no question that Truro worshipped Claire, that he'd do anything for her. She liked Peter, but, well, I think the feeling was deeper on his side than hers.
And how did you feel about Claire?
Alida, I don't see the point of all this.
Ghosts do not choose people to haunt unless by design. In order even to begin to help you, we must try to find out why Peter Truro chose you as an instrument for his vengeance. How do you feel about Claire?
Well, I'm certainly not fond of her. After all, she was responsible for my losing the part in Cries of Dissent.
You wanted to kill her.
Don't be ridiculous. You sound just like Peter.
You won't admit it to yourself. But you're secretly delighted with the idea of punishing Claire Truro. And there is no way you can get rid of Peter Truro until you do.
Welcome home, Jason. So nice to be back with you.
Cut it, Peter.
I liked your friend Alida.
Oh, I'm glad.
Well, now that your investigation has proved that I'm really a ghost and not something your imagination cooked up, we can get down to specifics about killing Claire.
Now, let's get this straight. I evidently can't stop you from appearing on my TV screen. But I am not going to kill anyone. Not even Claire.
I'll show you how you can get away with it.
I'm not interested.
What can you lose by sitting down and picking up a piece of paper and a pen?
I don't know.
Admit you're curious.
All right, I'm curious.
Oh, come on, Jason. You know we both burn for revenge. You because Claire fired you from Cries of Dissent to replace you with her lover, Edward Linville.
Who is awful. Have you seen him?
Oh, I don't have to. I know he's terrible. But he's playing the part. And he's sleeping with my wife, so, get the paper and pen, eh?
All right.
Now, write the following. My darling, this should not come as a surprise, since we talked about your unfaithfulness.
Now, wait a minute, Peter.
There's not much more. Unfaithfulness many times. And you know that I said I would kill you. My dearest, prepare to die. And sign it, Peter. What do you think she'll say when she finds that in her desk drawer?
Well, I think she'll laugh because she'll know it's an obvious forgery.
Well, take another look, Jason. And then tell me if you recognize the writing.
What? How did you do it? This is your handwriting.
Please, Edward, don't make me look again.
Darling, you must. This thing has gone too far for you to give in to it now. Now, please open the drawer.
What if I find another of those horrible notes?
You won't find any more. I've had the only key to the drawer in my pocket for the past 2 days.
Oh, can't we just let it go for now?
Open the drawer. Now, here's the key, darling. What was it?
Another note. Another one.
Well, that's impossible. Let me see.
No, don't. It's impossible, you said. Impossible. All right, Edward, read what it says. Read it. And tell me it's impossible. I think we should go to the police.
And tell them what? That you're getting notes from a dead man?
Well, haven't you been telling me all along that that was impossible?
Of course I have.
Then we can go to the police and tell him that some vicious practical joker is blackmailing me.
He hasn't asked for anything.
Oh, he's building up to it. I know he's building up to it.
Who is he? That's the big question. Who is doing this and how?
I'll swear that the notes are in Peter's handwriting, and any handwriting expert will swear to the same thing?
Then maybe we should ask the police to begin looking for a master forger?
I thought you said we shouldn't go to the police.
Well, I have an idea. Now, it may be crazy, and well, I don't know whether or not it'll help, but it's an idea.
I'll do anything to stop this nonsense.
Well, maybe we should find a spiritualist and have a consultation.
Who is it? Ed Linville. Well, if I say I'm surprised, I'm sure you'll understand.
Completely. And I'm sure that you'll understand that I wouldn't be here in your apartment unless I thought it was very important.
Granted.
I'm here because I can't help feeling there's some connection between you and some crazy notes Claire's been getting.
Notes? I don't think I understand.
Somebody has started a systematic campaign of persecution against Claire.
Well, why don't you go to the police?
Because I'm afraid of the publicity. Claire will look silly because the persecution is seemingly directed by Peter Truro.
Well, she can't be serious. How could Peter
That's what everyone's reaction is, because I can't explain the notes.
That's the second time you've mentioned notes.
They're vicious, handwritten little jottings, all reminding her of some silly vows that she had made with Truro before they were married. They threaten her life. They're all signed by Peter Truro.
Well, it's impossible.
That's what I said. Claire insists that the handwriting is Peter's. It's been checked by 3 handwriting experts. All 3 say Claire's right. The handwriting is Peter's.
Well, that still doesn't explain what brings you here to see me.
I told you, Claire's sensed there's a connection. She told me she came to see you.
Yes, she did.
And she told me you behaved rather strangely.
Look, I know you're worried about Claire, so I'm giving you a lot of latitude, but you're really beginning to annoy me, Linville.
I'm just trying to find out why you got so angry with her when she was only talking about her dreams.
She came here, I thought, to ask my forgiveness for the raw deal she gave me in Cries of Dissent. A deal which you were part of. Now, why should I sympathize with Claire and her problems? We were never that close before Peter died. And as far as you're concerned...
Can you forget that I replaced you?
You don't have a right to ask me to forget.
Oh, yes, I have. And I'm going to get some answers, or the cops are going to get some information. Even if it means bad publicity.
The cops?
Claire and I went to a medium. We showed her the notes. We told her all we knew. She held a seance, and she came up with your name.
That's what you're going to tell the cops?
That and the fact that you're mad because I replaced you in Cries of Dissent.
You've had this coming, and now you're going to get... I'll kill you, so help me, I'll kill you.
So, Jason, we made quite a spectacle of ourselves with Edward Linville, didn't we?
How did that medium get my name?
She must have been extraordinarily perceptive.
You know that it was a she. You're in on this.
Oh, really, Jason? You're becoming paranoid. Since I'm obviously depending on you to kill Claire for me, it would be extraordinarily stupid for me to have you suspected even before the crime.
Nobody is going to be suspected because there isn't going to be any crime.
Oh, your adrenaline's still working overtime because of that scrap with Linville. When you calm down, you'll realize what a fool you're making of yourself.
No need to remind me. I realized that the minute Linville said he'd been given my name.
What story can Linville take to the police?
He can accuse me of writing poison pen letters to Claire.
He can? On what evidence? The word of a medium? According to Linville himself, Claire had the notes checked with a handwriting expert who swore that the handwriting was mine. Now, how does that point to you?
Why can't you leave me alone?
Oh, come, Jason. You were having a ball with the notes and watching the effect they had on Claire?
All right, I'll admit that, but writing nasty little notes is a lot different than killing.
Well, of course it is. And you want me to guarantee that no one will ever connect you with the killing. That's what you really want, isn't it, Jason?
Look, you're too smug for me to argue with. There's no point in any further discussion, so...
Now, hold on a minute, Jason, hold on. I want to tell you how I can guarantee you're being in the clear.
Like promising me you won't give the police my name.
I offer you complete safety.
How?
The suicide note.
Suicide?
Exactly. Claire will commit suicide. Take an overdose of sleeping pills and leave a completely authentic suicide note to prove it.
You mean you're really going to drive Claire to suicide?
Don't you think Claire is the suicidal type?
No.
I agree. That's why we must have the note. You want to write it now?
Are you out of your mind?
Just write what I dictate.
No way.
We are going to say that she just couldn't stand the idea of betraying me and breaking her solemn marriage vow.
Now, you're not going to mention me, are you?
Of course not.
Somebody will remember that the earlier notes dealt with me and Linville.
That's why we'll just stick with her guilt about betraying me. You see how careful I'm being about involving you?
Yes, but you want me to write the note.
You must. I guarantee the handwriting experts will all swear the handwriting is genuine. In addition, it will be on her special stationery, of course.
And how are you going to arrange that?
You are. You are going to be invited to a party. A bash that Claire will be giving next week. And while you're there, I'll arrange to show you the room where Claire keeps her stationery and the desk.
Oh, forget it. Haven't you ever heard of fingerprints? Mine will be all over the place.
Pick it up, Jason. That's Claire calling with your invitation. Congratulations, Jason. You accepted Claire's invitation with just the right amount of reluctance.
How did you know that Claire would call?
Oh, you must grant me certain ghostly secrets of the trade. It should reassure you about our chances of pulling off a successful murder.
I thought you said suicide.
Yes, I did, but to be quite accurate, I should have said apparent suicide. We both agreed that Claire wasn't the suicidal type.
Then what was all that talk about sleeping pills and a suicide note? Just talk?
By no means.
Well, she's not going to take an overdose of her own free will.
That is where you come in, Jason. You'll have to see to it that she takes them. We'll work that out somehow.
The devil we will. This is where I get off, Peter. I'm finishing with you once and for all, even if I have to smash the set.
We're past that, Jason, old boy.
What? Wait a minute. The set's off. I hear you. Why can't I see you?
Of course the set is off, Jason. But now we have such a close relationship that I don't have to depend on a mechanical device to communicate with you. From now on, Jason, I'm your friend and faithful companion.
Who was it who first said, with a friend like that, who needs enemies? Oh, well, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that a ghostly voice has taken control of Jason Phillips. All of us are driven sometimes by forces we don't clearly see or understand. But how many of you have ever obeyed the commands of a ghost? And what happened when you did? Don't answer that. People who hear voices either tell no one or lay themselves open to all sorts of risks, not the least of which is ending up on a couch. Actor Jason Phillips has been hearing the same voice for weeks. A voice of a Broadway producer who keeps urging Jason to kill the producer's actress wife. Jason is now disturbed enough to seek help from a distinguished and brilliant psychiatrist.
The whole purpose of our talks, Jason, depends on your deciding what is important. Now, obviously, your losing the part in Cries of Dissent was a real shock to you.
Well, it would be to anybody.
Of course, but what about Claire Trureau? What was your relationship with her before that?
It was friendly, casual. I mean, after all, she was Peter's wife, and he made no bones about how he felt about her.
Were you attracted to her?
She's a very good-looking woman.
That's not what I asked.
Oh, I guess maybe, but nothing earth-shaking.
And how did she feel about you?
I don't know.
I think it might be wise if you could recreate the day she told you she was replacing you in Cries of Dissent.
Well, I don't know if I can remember all of it. I came to the theater that day about the same time as usual. Rehearsal was scheduled for 11. I got there about 10:50. I was sitting in my dressing room when I heard a knock on the door. Come in.
I'm glad you're early, Jason. There's something I want to talk to you about.
Fine. Well, I need the script.
No. Jason, darling, this isn't going to be very pleasant.
Well, the last few weeks haven't been very pleasant.
This is something I know is going to hurt you, and I wish... How I wish...
You're not making sense.
I've never done this before. I've never fired an actor before.
Fired an act? You mean I'm out of the play?
I'm afraid so.
But why? Why? You know I'm good in the part. You know what the part means to me. Why would...
I think you're beginning to understand. Believe me, Jason,
Does Linville mean that much to you?
Well, you knew
I knew you were seeing a lot of him, but I didn't think that... Well, isn't this very sudden? Peter's only been dead a few days.
Edward Linville and I... Well, we go back a long way.
Claire, I don't want to hear any stories of old love affairs. It's not going to make me feel any differently about the kind of deal you're giving me.
I don't suppose I could expect you to feel any other way.
Come off it, Claire. You cut my heart out and you want to be forgiven?
You'll get your full salary for the run of the
I don't need it. I'll take my 2 weeks' notice.
I'll be in touch with your agent. Goodbye, Jason.
And that's about the way it was, Doctor.
Oh, a traumatic experience. It has left a deep scar.
Well, I knew that before I came to you. Now, help me.
Well, the help must come from within you.
You don't believe in this ghost of mine.
Do you?
We keep going around in circles, Doctor.
Not quite. The first day you came to me, you wanted to know whether or not you could actually hear a voice and be perfectly sane. You remember I gave you an answer.
Yes, you said it was possible.
And then?
Then I told you the voice I heard belonged to a dead man and asked if you believed in ghosts.
And do you remember my answer?
Yes, you said, for some people, ghosts are a way of life.
That's right. Doesn't that apply to you?
No, and I don't know anyone it does apply to. Doctor, if you're trying to confuse me, you're doing a great job.
I'm trying to lead you to a conclusion. You'd only kill someone who did you harm.
Does that seem so strange?
Someone like Claire Truro?
There you go again, Doctor, trying to prove something.
Prove what?
That I'd really like to kill Claire.
Wouldn't you?
Yes. Yes, I would. I'd like to get my hands around her throat. Yes, I want to kill her.
What in the world have you done, Jason?
Made a purchase, Peter. A mannequin. Don't you recognize her?
Should I?
Well, she's a lady very close to your heart.
To me, she just looks like any other window dummy they use in dress shops.
Ah, but this one is different, Peter. Don't you recognize your beloved wife, Claire?
What kind of foolishness is this?
Expensive, made-to-order therapy for a man who talks to ghosts. A ghost who wants him to kill his wife. Now, I propped Claire up here in the corner of this couch, and I hit her. And I hit her again, and again, and again.
You feel better?
Much better, Peter. You see, I'm willing to admit to you now that I am aggressive towards Claire, and I would like to see her dead.
That is progress.
That's what my doctor says. Now that I've admitted the terrible thought and acknowledged it, I can get rid of my aggression.
By hitting that department store dummy on the head?
You go ahead and laugh. But it's going to work.
Jason, over here.
Oh, great party, Claire.
Thank you, Jason. I want you and Edward to shake hands right here now.
Of course.
Go on, Edward. Go on, shake hands.
Well, I think I made a fool of myself, Jason.
Well, you don't have a monopoly on foolishness. I kind of lost my head, too.
Well, it's all over now. And even though Edward said I shouldn't, I have to ask a favor, Jason.
Go right ahead.
Well, you know that little church around the corner from your apartment?
You mean St. Anthony's?
That's it. They have a theatrical about this time every year, and I've known Father Kinsolving for years and years, and... Well, I always donate some costumes. I was wondering if you'd be kind enough to drop them off for me.
No trouble at all. I'd be happy to.
You see, Edward, what you called my silly brainstorm turned out to be not such a bad idea at all.
Welcome home, Jason. Did you enjoy the party?
Matter of fact, I had a ball.
I see you have the clothes with which you can dress that ridiculous dummy, so it looks even more like Claire.
These are costumes that I have to give to St. Anthony's.
Well, try one of them on the dummy. You'll find it will make your therapy more effective. Go on. I like that blue dress.
Wait a minute. Did you have anything to do with this?
Of course I put the idea into Claire's head of asking you to deliver the costumes. I think it's going to please me to see a more lifelike Claire in your living room and give you a good deal more of satisfaction.
All right, Doctor, I'll admit I do feel better. But all that pummeling and smashing at the model of Claire hasn't stopped me from hearing Peter's voice.
Do you also see him?
Only when I turn on the TV. I don't bother with that anymore. But I am still confused. You and I have these long conversations and...
You were about to say?
Well, I don't know. There are too many things that can't be explained away because of my aggressiveness. Those notes and the fact that they were judged to be in Peter's handwriting.
Which you've often seen enough on checks and letters.
I'm not that good a forger.
All right, Jason. What is the alternative?
I don't understand.
We've come a long way since you first came here. Let's assume that you didn't forge the notes. You know who wrote them, but someone else dictated them. And the same person guided your hand. Now, who could that person possibly be?
I've been telling you, the ghost of Peter Truro.
And this same ghost influenced his wife to give you costumes to deliver to a church for a theatrical.
He says he did.
This, then, is the alternative you must face. That there is a ghost. That he is the ghost of Peter Truro, and that he is haunting you.
And that I believe in that ghost?
Don't you?
I'm afraid I don't have any choice. Who is it?
Alida.
Oh, come in. Thank you for coming so soon after I called.
I'd never forgive myself if I hadn't. Who's that?
It's just a dummy dressed in Claire's clothes.
You must get rid of it.
Well, I will, but I asked you to visit with me.
Get rid of it now.
What do you want me to do, throw it out the window?
It doesn't matter. Don't you realize how dangerous it is for you to have her here?
Oh, come on, Alida. It was my doctor's idea. He said I could use the dummy to pick out my aggressions.
Indeed. And where did you get the clothes?
Claire gave them to me.
Does she know how you're using them?
She gave me a lot of stuff to give to a church theatrical. I kept this one dress out.
Are you so friendly that she would ask you to do her a favor like that?
Look, I'm afraid I've gone as far as I can with the doctor. He feels that it's all my subconscious. My urge to kill Claire that accounts for everything.
Your wish to kill Claire does not mean there are no ghosts. There is evil all around you. Either you or Claire must leave New York.
I don't see how running away will get rid of Peter.
I'm not so much concerned now with your getting rid of Peter as I am with saving your life.
You really mean that, don't you? You're really frightened.
There was only one other time in my life when I've been this frightened.
When was that?
No. Now, Jason, please come away with me. Come back with me to Clarkstown until... Until the restless thirst for revenge has left the ghost of Peter Truro.
You were sensational tonight, Claire, my love.
Thank you, Edward.
Shall we eat something before we go home?
No, I'll meet you at the house. I have to go someplace first.
Oh, very mysterious.
Well, it's important.
You care to tell me?
I'm afraid you disapprove.
Well, if it's what I think it is, I certainly will do more than disapprove.
Oh, be a darling and don't ask any questions. I'll tell you all about it when I get home.
Now, Claire,
I have to get this makeup off, and
You're not going.
Now, don't be silly, Edward. You don't even know where I'm going.
Stop treating me like a child, Claire. It's obvious that you're taking that last note seriously.
I want these notes to end. I want this whole situation to end. Can you promise me that you can stop it, Edward?
No, but...
This last note says I'll have all the answers if I go alone to Jason's apartment.
And you believe that?
It also says I'll find the door open. I'm going there. And if the door's open, I'll go in.
But Claire...
You know where I'll be. And if I'm not home in an hour, you can come after me. Call the police or do anything you want.
I just remembered something, Alita.
What?
I left something important in the apartment.
Oh, but Jason, our bus leaves in half an hour. You promised to go home with me.
There's plenty of time. My apartment's only a short distance. I'll grab a cab, be back in plenty of time. Meet you at gate number 5.
You're doing the right thing, Jason. I promise a stunning surprise awaits you in your apartment. And after tonight, it will be all over.
Cap!
You'll like what I've done with the mannequin, Jason. That's a promise.
The door is open. That's part of the notice, right? Jason? Jason, are you home? Oh, darn. Oh, where are the lights? Oh, what's this? Jason, you're not playing some silly game, are you? Oh, a dummy. Some kind of store figure. Jason, whatever you're up to, get this thing away from me. It's just where a dummy belongs, on the floor. Jason, I'm too old to be afraid of the dark. I'll just sit and wait for you. And if you don't come soon, Edward will be here. I'm warning you. I thought mentioning Edward would do it. Switch on the light, Jason.
Oh, Peter, this is what your surprise is. You've made the mannequin talk. Marvelous, Peter.
Who are you talking to, Jason? Please turn on the light.
Thank you, Peter. This is really wonderful.
Jason! Are you mad?
The throat feels like real flesh. My hands are closing around real flesh. I don't know how you did it, Peter.
Jason, you're killing me. Jason, stop.
That finishes you once and for all. Now, a little light. Clear. Clear. It's really clear.
Of course, Jason. I've kept my promise, and you've done the job. Now you're rid of me forever. Goodbye, Jason.
Claire. Claire, I've really killed you. No. No. Oh, no! Well, that's one way to rid yourself of a ghost. Jason Phillips was no longer haunted. However, I certainly don't recommend it as a general rule. I do recommend, however, a more generous suspension of disbelief when someone tells you he's seen a ghost or is hearing voices he can't explain. Voices. Voices we hear only inside our own heads. Sometimes we identify them as voices of conscience, and everyone accepts the fact that we hear those. But ghostly voices, the voices of the dead, how real are they? Just as real as our imagination allows them to be. Our cast included Mandel Kramer, Ralph Bell, Evie Juster, and Bob Caliban. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
music station, KIXI. Dial 91 AM, Seattle.
CBS News. 3 Arab guerrillas are holding as many as 100 Israeli children hostage at this hour in the Israeli town of Mahalot, a few miles from the Lebanese border. I'm Ann Crosman reporting on the CBS radio network. Bruno Wasserteil has more on the story in Israel.
Israeli soldiers have surrounded the school building in which 3 Arab guerrillas are keeping close to 100 Israeli school children hostage. The guerrillas are demanding the release of 20 Arab Fedayeen now serving time in Israeli jails. They set a deadline for their demand, which expires at noon, New York time. The boys and girls, aged 15 to 17, all of them Orthodox Jewish school children, were on an excursion and staying overnight in the schoolhouse of a town 6 miles from the Lebanese border when the guerrillas struck. A few of the children, one of their teachers, and a bus driver accompanying them managed to escape by leaping out of second and third story windows. Several hours earlier, Arab guerrillas ambushed a pickup truck on a road a few miles away, killing 1 woman and wounding 7 others. The group keeping the school children captive are said to belong to the same Arab commando organization that carried out last month's Kiryat Shmona massacre. Bruno Wasserteil for CBS News in Jerusalem.
Secretary of State Kissinger is in Jerusalem now, and he plans to leave for Damascus Wednesday. Kissinger will be carrying an Israeli reply to Syria's latest offer for a troop pullback on the Syrian front. On Tuesday, Kissinger spent 6.5 hours working with Syrian officials. He did not get approval of a line separating Syrian and Israeli soldiers on the front, something he wanted. According to one American official traveling with Kissinger, negotiations are now in a holding pattern. President Nixon invited a bipartisan group of congressmen for dinner Tuesday night on board the presidential yacht Sequoia, and Hal Walker reports.
It was described by the White House as just a short supper cruise for some of the president's friends from Capitol Hill, 5 Republicans and 4 Democrats. The Democrats among the most influential in Congress. Armed Services Chairman Abe Baer of Louisiana, Internal Security Chairman Richard Eichord of Missouri, Olin Teague of Texas, Chairman of Science and Astronautics, and Joe Wagner of Louisiana on Ways and Means. It was Michigan Republican Alfred Cederberg who talked with us after the short cruise.
The discussion went along on the importance of the presidency, the preservation of the presidency more than the preservation of Richard Nixon. That I think was his, and he said in no uncertain terms that he wasn't guilty of anything and he wasn't about to be take any position that would in any way demean the presidency, and that, well, he just isn't going to resign, period. That's it.
Cederberg said the president was in good spirits despite the weight of Watergate. Hal Walker, CBS News, Washington.
Patrick Buchanan, one of Mr. Nixon's aides, held a news conference on Tuesday on the White House lawn, and he said the president does not intend to resign. Buchanan adding that resignation would poison the well of American politics for years to come. Members of the International Association of Machinists have approved a contract offer from United Airlines, and so there will be no strike as threatened against United coming this Wednesday morning. Newark Mayor Kenneth Gibson has been re-elected for another 4 years. Gibson, who was Newark's first black mayor, beat his nearest opponent, State Senator Anthony Imperiale, who was white, by about 10,000 votes. Imperiale conceded defeat and offered his support to Gibson. I'm Ann Crosman, CBS News.